Oh, okay. Already got quite a few people here. Shit. Wait, why's my mic not work? Or does it work? Why? Oh, dude, OBS changed around all its bullshit, and now I'm like confused. It has the view count and the alert box as like some sort of audio decibel measurement, but I don't know why that would be. It's not like any of that ever matters really. Maybe you can just see. Chicken butt. Someone eating chicken butts? What's for dinner? Alright, we're back into the ghost stories, guys. And pretty excited about it. They're actually all from subscribers this time. They're not even, well, the first one's from Reddit, and all the other ones are all primarily subscriber stories, because I'm a little behind on communicating with new Reddit authors for more paranormal stories. So Joel is for dinner. You're gonna eat me alive. Have your way with me. I'm sacrificing myself to my people. Grace Forrest, you wanted to submit a ghost story? Or you did submit a ghost story. Maybe yours is here, as you have the same name on Le Reddit. Le Reddit. Alright. How long will I be staying streaming? I would say maybe, usually each stream seems to be approximately 2+ hours. So if it is currently 9:47 p.m. on the East Coast, 2 hours from now will be closer to midnight. I would say I'll be done a little after midnight. But yeah, we're going to be chilling. Let's T's name is Joel, the man from Last of Us. Yes, the man from Last of Us. He is the most famous Joel that I know. Joel is not a name that's often too used. Crystal, right out the gate with a big 20 bonos, says about to take a quick shower, but definitely be back. Well, thank you, Crystal. Go ahead and get yourself nice and clean, ready for a dank ass stream. Oh, Spooky, thank you. Nice. 4 to the list. Heck yeah. That's my fault, because I need to be on top of that more, so probably just hit up these authors more frequently on my part, because I like forget about it sometimes. Oh, hey, there's Spartan. What's up, Spartan? Hi, Gothic, Crisia. Whole gang's here. What's poppin'? Billy going for that. Billy, they blocked out what you're saying, and I can't show it. It's too naughty. You guys say the naughtiest things. Jill says, Joel, you need to do this in the voice of Dylan is chillin'. Dylan is chillin'. Nah, my boy Dylan, he's chillin', man. I can't kill his vibe, you know. Hey, Kashi is here in the Bazilding. It's that time of the year where it's chilly in the evenings and I don't want to get undressed to take a shower. Oh yeah, you almost need to bring your warm clothes into the shower and then immediately reapply large cotton clothing after exiting so you don't get cold. You want to be murdered on Halloween? That would be neat. Maybe we have someone, write it down, send it in, and then your memory will live on forever on the podcast, on YouTube as well. Don't do chills. I love Chills though, man. He's such a nice guy. I don't think you. It must be the Canadian in him. I know we got a few Canadians in here, and just seems like Canadians are just nice people. Anthony Esposito with the 2 buckaroonie says no longer in the hospital. Nice. What I didn't even know. Honestly, I guess it's been a while since we've talked. I hope you're doing all right. You know what? I might just... Spooky, thank you for getting these ghost stories, because I might just read all of them, honestly. I'm just going to do a... This is going to... Might be a longer stream than normal. If we go ham jam here. With these 4 additional spookaroos. Cheyenne Dory Bob with the 2 says, definitely a treat today. Your maker streamed and now... Oh, nice. He already streamed. What does your maker do for his streams? Anthony Esposito with the 5 says, long story short, lost feeling in my legs, couldn't walk, and then back pain out the wazoo. Oh my gosh, was it pressure on like a sciatic nerve or something of that nature, or like on a particular nerve? That's terrifying. I'm really sorry. What Jen says, going up to 189 weeks we have till the next Halloween. Oh, likes. 189 oh, 199 people. Oh yeah, and likes. Yeah, click that like button, guys. Click it. Click that like button. Oops. Actually, you know, we're just gonna scoot some of these stories here. Vendexa the Gamer with the 1 buckarone, and James Noonan with the 2 says, it's been a while since some haunted highway stories. I know. I was kind of pulled away from paranormal stories because they don't do as well as the normal true stuff, so it kind of sometimes in the YouTube algorithm kind of like kills momentum per se. But they're some of my favorite kind of stories, so I gotta get them in. And if I'm gonna do it only every so often, I might as well go ham on it. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 stories for you, and these ain't short. Well, some of them are actually, but I like this music. If you like this music, this is from Chill Hop Music. Chill Hop Essentials Fall 2019. That's right now. Chill and lo-fi hip-hop beats. Heck yeah. You're waiting for mom to get out of the shower, and then you'll hook up the phone to the speaker and shower while listening. That sounds amazing. It's one of my favorite things to do, is just listen to podcast stuff while I'm taking a shower. Believe it or not, I have an Alexa. And Alexa is, she likes to listen to me while I sleep. But then she also, provides me with endless entertainment, so. Oh, whoa. Anthony Esposito with the 50 bonos. Holy cow, it says, well, I don't know how long I will be listening for tonight, but can't wait for tomorrow to listen. Well, thank you, Anthony. Honestly, you didn't have to do that, especially if you're going through some troubles there yourself. Seriously, that is insane. Thank you. Holy cow. But I hope you're feeling well. If you need, obviously if you need anybody to talk to, we're always, feel free to message us. We're chilling in the Discord, or send me a DM or something like that. I really appreciate your generosity. Very kind human being. Thank you. And Cheyenne with 2 again here. It's give me Skinwalker stories or give me death. Hey, guess what? Story number 2 is actually about skinwalkers, and I think There might be... that's it. But so there's one Skinwalker story for you. So we don't have to kill you. Oh yeah, Spartan Hunter's gonna be looking for them mistakes there. The official mistake counter of the night. James Noonan with the $2 says, your take on horror narrator animations. Oh, I think they're awesome. Honestly, like, I love it. I love animations. I love seeing different types of animation styles. I mean, I do hold animations to a high standard. So, like, a lot of the times people ask me if they can use my use my narrations to make animations for their channel, and I'll look at their channel, and I'll still let them use my narrations because I mean, it's not a big deal, I'm happy like people feel inclined enough to use my narrations, or that the narrations are good enough to be used for animation. But I don't know. I just kind of want. When I have a passion for animation, I kind of want something pretty ballin', you know what I mean? Something cool, or something unique, at least in its stylings and that kind of thing. So, but I do really admire people who have the passion to put time into animation, because that's pretty crazy. Hey, Jay Wilson, what's up? Welcome. Another 3 minutes of chilling here. We'll jump into the stories after, and we'll throw on the good old Iron Cthulhu Apocalypse. Peter Parker. Peter Parker's in the building. More to dust. Got me a pizza. I'm drugged up on anti-sickness, and I'm ready for Spooky Poppy to read to us for a spooky good time. Hey, you came to the right spot. Pink Bunny Girl 43 says, hey, do you draw the artwork in the reads? Most of the artwork is done by other artists. Our good friend Natalia is going to be doing some art for tomorrow's video. That shall be a good time. Or at least I've been doing a lot of I wouldn't say speed paints, but I want to call them time-lapse art. And I really appreciate when you guys do that. On my Discord, you can actually kind of like, if you have a time-lapse art you want to send, obviously just email it to me at letsreadsubmissions@gmail.com, or you can, send it to in the Discord and show it on the visual submissions channel, just to kind of get a vibe, see what people think, and then you can submit it, whatever you want to do, because I'm more than likely going to accept it, because I like to include that kind of stuff in the background just to kind of give people something visual to peep at besides, just a stationary thumbnail scenario. Jen Child with the 5 buckaronis. Thank you, Jen. How are you tonight? And Billy with the 2 says, I dedicate to you Wicked Game by Chris Isaac. What is that about? What is that about? Can you please make a whole video with stories about the Wendigo? I do have a few videos in the past related to Wendigo and Skinwalkers, so if you were to go to the channel and do a channel search. It's kind of like near the word about on the top, or all those little tabs. You can type in Wendigo or Skinwalker and find many a video devoted to that, but that is a good idea for future stuff. Anthony Esposito with the 5 says, holy shizit. I just did a front roll off a ledge, got up and shot a dude in the face while not aiming. #breakpoint. What is this? Is this IRL? Anthony's on his phone during a firefight. What's going on out there? This world, it's gone crazy. And then you missed, and then you just shot up in the air. It's interesting watching, Keanu Reeves get older, because you kind of just think that it's not possible, but he is in his late 50s, I do believe. And in John Wick 3, I had noticed that his gait, and I remember I commented on Reddit one time about the heaviness of his gait, meaning like his steps and his movement and his running was very heavy, like and it reminded me of kind of like either someone who has some degenerative disease breakdown in maybe like the hips or the knees, or he's just getting older kind of thing. So, or maybe he was just doing squats at 500 pounds, repping that shit out, and then he's like, all right, time to do my movie role, sprint after these bad guys, get my dog back, whatever. But yeah, I love Keanu. He's obviously amazing. Excited to see him in that new Cyberpunk 2077. Is it 2077? But I saw they teased him, so that'd be dope. Anthony Esposito with the 5 says, I've only been on Live Me when there was something going down in Afghanistan. Oh man, that must have been insane. Yeah, that stuff sounds terrifying. What was the movie? That one movie they had, it was a documentary about fighting in the mountainous regions of Afghanistan. Gestapo or something like that. I forget what it was called, but that was a pretty intense little documentary about individuals fighting in one of the most dangerous mountainous regions in Afghanistan. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was a pretty heavy one to watch for me. But yeah, guys, we are kicking it off here, making the transition. Thank you for alerting me that it's read time. We're back to the amazing art of Robin Mikalsen from Norway, and he has made my avatar cutting into some pumpkins there. Pumpkin carving sounds like a nice thing to do. Wonder how many ASMR channels do that. But thank you, Chill Hop Music, for providing the beats in the background. Now we'll be switching over to our Iron Cthulhu Apocalypse, as opposed to B-Pocalypse. ABC Apocalypse. Ooh, how old am I? I'm 29 years old. Monster Fiend, you can't hear me. That's strange. I don't know why that would be. This first story is actually not about skinwalkers. It's entitled "My College Roommate was a poltergeist." So he or she was an actual poltergeist. Shit, man, what the hell? I'm probably gonna turn the music up just a tad. Story you crank. Yeah, 29 is a hunky age, yeah. No, yeah, a lot of people don't look forward to getting older. I actually do. I think all my glory days are ahead of me, to be honest. Electra Hart with the 10 says, I once again hold you responsible for ruining my sleep schedule. Are you happy with this, you bench? Should you be in bed right now when you're now up hearing some spooky tales? Thank you, Electra. Thank you for the 10 buckarones. But I'm here for you. I will also be the Valium that puts you back to sleep. Wolfsfan says, what color did you see with the shoe? Is that like a meme? Kind of like the dress, like where it's like the dress is gold, or is it blue or some shit? Because I doth not recall. In 2015, I was a freshman in college. I roomed with my best friend Emily from high school. Before leaving for college, we had done research and found rumors online that our dorm building was haunted, but we didn't take it seriously. We lived on the second floor, and our room was in between the stairwell and the laundry room. The first month went totally normal, and we were settled into our new routines. One day when I got home from class and walked in the room, everything was open. All the drawers on both of our desks, dressers, and tall standing wardrobes. My first thought was that someone broke into our room and robbed us, but then that didn't make sense because you could only access our room with 2 key cards. One was mine and the other was Emily's. Nobody else's. Alright. I got excited to turn the music up a little bit, and now it was too much for my brain at one time. It was like having multiple keys jingling in my ears. I don't know. Maybe I need to adjust it. I don't know how loud it is for you guys, but I'd like to figure out the perfect settings, as they say. Emmy B was 6423 with the 2 says, I'm 27, feel the perfect age. Yeah, maybe we could just stay here, right at this age. I don't know, people get afraid of aging, but honestly, every day just challenge yourself to go further than you've gone before, because really at the end of the day, there's really nowhere else to go but up. So keep moving up. Do not be afraid of time, because time doesn't even consider you. My first thought was that someone broke into our room and robbed us, but then that didn't make sense because you could only access our room with 2 key cards. One was mine and the other was Emily's. Nobody else's key cards would be able to unlock our door. I called Emily to see if she was in class, but she was in the bathroom down the hall. When she came back, I showed her the room, and she said it wasn't like that when she left. At the time, we both thought it was the other one playing a prank, but neither of us said it. Over the next couple of months, more things started happening that proved to both of us that it wasn't the other one playing pranks. We often came home to everything being open, and that's not it. Oh shit, sorry. Swear jar. The phrase age is just a number is very situational. Yeah, be careful where you say that. Yeah, enjoy your time. That's true. Your time can run out at any given moment. That's a good point. That's why you gotta live it the best you can now. Don't be afraid. We often came home to everything being open, but that's not it. At night, when we were both in bed, we could hear our laundry baskets. At night, when we were both in bed, we could hear our laundry baskets being dragged across the floor and things falling off of our shelves. One time, when we were both in our beds with the lights out, I sneezed and clearly heard, "Bless you." When I said thank you, thinking it was Emily, I looked across the room and realized she was asleep. I also heard "hello" whispered in my ear a few times. Another time at night, I was up late studying and Em was asleep. I felt like I was being watched all night, but just told myself I was tired and paranoid, but I couldn't shake the feeling. Then, out of nowhere, I felt a light shove on my back. Obviously, this scared the life out of me, so I got up to yell at Emily, but then saw she was still in her bed. Once when Emily was in the room by herself, she was on the phone with her dad talking about all the weird stuff that had been happening to us. And of course, right on cue, all at once, every single drawer flew open. After about a month of us being terrified, we got up the courage to talk to our RHD about everything. We started with something like, "So we had a weird question about our room." When she stopped us and said, "Let me guess, stuff is moving around and you don't know why?" Excuse me? What? She said every year she gets reports from people that live in that room with stories the same as ours. It's happened for years, she said. She told us that it was the ghost of a little girl named Sarah who was known to be mischievous. 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 Known to be mischievous. She told us that it was the ghost of a little girl named Sarah who was known to be mischievous and liked to mess around. To be honest, this part of the story I'm not sure I buy 100%, but it made us feel a lot better to tell ourselves it was just a girl. After a couple of months, things settled down and occurrences became less frequent. We eventually felt comfortable in our room, and if something happened, we would just tell ourselves it was Sarah messing around again and brushed it off. Even though we were scared at times, we both agreed that nothing ever felt evil or sinister. It did indeed just seem like a mischievous spirit, but either way, we never taunted it or tried to talk to it. Cashy P with the 14 Canadian maple syrup bucks says, "Gag me, please." with all the maple syrup that's flowing, that's most likely what I would have to use. Unless you're trying to throw up. I don't know what the scenario is there. Wait, Wolffan, what was a quote from X? DMX? XXX Stention? What was that rapper's name? XXX Tenacion? I always thought it was XXX Extension Cord. I thought that's literally what his name was, like extension cord. I don't know why, like, even though that, like, post necessarily wasn't, like, terrifying, there's something about the paranormal that I just find so fascinating. Oh, hey, Miss Molly. Welcome, welcome. Both options sound wonderful. Yes, Cashy. I will leave it up to you. Jay Wilson, I do, actually. Billy Amber with the 2 says, "Gag me and spank me, please." All right. Yeah, we're going down this train here. It's all just going to be, everything's going to be with maple syrup, it seems. All right, guys, this one's about to get into that skinwalker shit. It's so weird to me, like, the skinwalker phenomenon. Like, what the heck is it? Like, is it a creature? Apparently it's like, people say it's like a sort of medicine man who practices dark evil magic or something and can shapeshift and all that kind of stuff. And, to be honest with you, the world is full of so many strange phenomena. I wouldn't be surprised. Jamanson sound like I have an accent. You live in Cali. I don't. I'm actually on the East Coast in Pennsylvania. Cuppa Cuppy with the 5 says, "Do you like pancake sauce?" Oh my god, I love pancake sauce. Pancake sauce goes well with really anything. Do you guys have a favorite flavor of pancake sauce? Wolfsfan says, "I saw a ghost one in the hospital. Very scary. I might post it in the sub someday." Oh, okay. Chat's popping off. It's a person who can turn into a coyote. I've heard of it. The Native American Navajo traditions and superstitions and all that kind of stuff have been some of my favorite sort of cultural phenomenons, I suppose. Like, someday I think it would be really interesting to sort of visit those areas. Do I live in Amish country? You dang right. Not necessarily in the heart of Amish country, but only about 15 minutes from me is kind of a nice congregation of the Amish. I think I told a story here one time that me and my mom were flying down the highway and a group of kids no older than 10, 4 of them on the back of it wasn't even a buggy, it was just a platform with wheels and a horse pulling a platform with wheels, led by a 10-year-old. Or making a left into their land, and we coming up over a hill and essentially almost completely killed an Amish family. I remember hearing that there's some sort of strange legal situation where if you are to smash into an Amish buggy late at night, your legal liability is quite a bit different than you smashing into somebody else's car. Maybe somebody can look that up, because I kind of forget, but I'm not saying you should try it. But Summercat with the $5. Hey, Summercat says, hi, let's read. It's been a while, but I hope you are well. Are you doing anything fun for Halloween? Summercat, thanks. Welcome back. It has been forever, but I remember you. It's good to see you. What am I doing for Halloween? Honestly, I have nothing planned for Halloween. It's kind of sad. I secretly think it would be really nice to hand out candy to kids. I know that sounds like an old weirdo thing to do. I guess it's not an old weirdo thing to do. That's literally what everybody in the world does. But I don't have any kids around this area. And the way our house is, it's not really facing like a main kid drag, you know what I mean? So it's not in the cards for me. Handing out the candy to the kids this year, just not in the cards. Natalia says, would the boy get a DUI if he smashed 3 apple juice boxes? If he just was shotgunning those before heading out on his buggy, his horse platform. I have told this story before in a public setting around 2008. I was living in Louisiana at the time and had called into Coast to Coast AM and told this story to George Norrie, which was a pretty cool experience. I didn't have a whole lot of time to tell some of the details, so you'll be getting the unedited version, so to speak. It happened somewhere between 1997 and 1999. I was in my late teens and we were living in New Mexico up near the Four Corners. My parents were pastors at a local church in a very small town. We had lived outside of town, sort of out in the middle of nowhere, and there were a few houses sprinkled around us. Surrounding us, at least where there were no houses, there was some brush and a lot of desert. Ever since we moved there, the locals told us about skinwalkers. Even people in the church warned us about them. One guy in the church swore up and down that when he was a truck driver, he saw a skinwalker in its human form running alongside his truck when he was going about 80 miles per hour. But since I didn't witness it, I just took him at his word. I had heard many different tales on the origins of skinwalkers, both from the locals and the Native Americans. There was a Native American who went to our church who still held on to his Navajo beliefs, who told me what I always assumed to be a more accurate description. He told me that when people of his tribe had a child out of incest, the tribe leaders take the baby out into the desert to be raised by wolves. The wolves would raise it and they would become skinwalkers, having the powers to turn into anything, animal, human, etc. The story fascinated me. He never seemed to know for sure that this was the accurate tale. Then he warned me to never whistle at night, which I thought was pretty weird, but I never did, until one night. It was in the fall, around 11 at night. I was in my bedroom, which was the furthest room from anyone in the house and near the garage, watching TV or playing PlayStation. My mother was in her bedroom. My dad was at the church studying, as he always did till around midnight. My brother had a friend over that night, and they were going to spend the night on the back patio, which was a long rectangular room with screen windows all down it. Like I said, I was in my bedroom minding my own business when my brother and his friend came banging on my door. Annoyed, I opened the door, and my brother, who is 4 years younger than me, and his friend are both frightened. My brother said as they were in the patio goofing off, they heard someone walking around the backyard, and said what looked to be the top of a white bald head walk by the screen windows. Now normally I would believe my brother. Excuse me. A white bald head. Skinwalkers. Where are you? We got a dono from Monster Not Dark. With the 5 says, I love Skinwalker stories. They rub me the wrong way, but I love it. I know. So far, this is pretty interesting. I don't know why. There's just like, are there any movies about Skinwalkers? I think there's ones about like, there was actually one a long time ago called Wendigo. And I remember when I played it, there was this one X-Men Wolverine video game I played that was about, Wolverine. And like, at one point he got to fight the Wendigo out in the ice and stuff like that. And that was my first sort of introduction to who the Wendigo was, way back probably in middle school, early high school scenario. It was on Xbox. And then that movie, I had kind of, there was always late night movies that I would watch on Stars. This one was called Wendigo. But it had more to do with just sort of like the strange superstition that exists within a small town out in the middle of nowhere. And didn't really have any like sort of, it was kind of like the Blair Witch Project from what I recall, where it was a lot of like implied scares, But oh yeah, what's kind of embarrassing is I'm pretty sure I did a sponsorship for a movie, like the Skinwalker movie, at some point on this channel way back, or maybe a movie about like 3 different monsters. The Michael Jackson documentary. Was he a skinwalker? Oh, he's a moonwalker, that's right. LPS Sugarpaw says, I love your channel. Your videos help me focus while coloring or drawing. They also somehow make me fall asleep. I know, isn't that the perfect combo? I can be both your Adderall and your Valium all at one time. Yeah, instead of a skinwalker, I become a furry. I will see you at the convention, my friends. Joel's room is lukewarm. Oh, yeah. This room is very luke, and it's very warm. No, normally I would believe my brother, since he would never take this kind of... Normally I would believe my brother, since he would never make this kind of stuff up, but his friend was a huge liar and had told tall tales about having been to Mars, even showing us the red dirt, which looked an awful lot like the red dirt you could find throughout the area, I might add. Of course, by this time I had experienced a lot of paranormal stuff, but I was still skeptical. Bravely and annoyed, I grabbed my jacket and a flashlight, and the 3 of us went out to the patio. It was always creepy at night because it was always so dark, and the only light came from a nearby lamppost a few yards down the street. Our backyard was insanely small except for the right-hand side of it, which was a bit bigger but held a trampoline which took up the better part of it. We stepped out of the patio, my flashlight shining around the yard, but saw nothing. That was when I started hearing the crunching of leaves coming from the front yard. So the 3 of us went through the back gate to the front yard. Now our front yard was huge and had roughly 9 apple trees. There was even a large creepy tree in the corner of the yard near the street I always stayed clear of for some reason. We had a close neighborhood. Literally on the other side of the wooden fence, it was a nice family that had a daughter about my brother's age, and they also had a bunch of chickens, and sometimes they would wander into our yard, so that is what I thought was walking around our front yard. Shining the flashlight around, of course, I couldn't see any chickens, but I did see something white walk behind a tree near the wooden fence. That was when I got very curious. The 3 of us walked slowly to the tree. I was being the protective big brother and kept the other 2 behind me. Before I knew it, I heard a loud whoosh and felt a gust of wind like something flew by us. My brother screamed out in pain. My brother always had his shirt off, which annoyed me because back then I was overweight and very self-conscious, but I noticed on his chest he had 3 long scratches across him. Scared and shocked, my brother ran back inside the house, leaving me and his friend. It all happened so quickly, but I ran towards the street where I was sure whatever it was had gone, his friend close behind me. Once we reached the end of the property, I could hear the sound of bare feet running down the paved road. I shined my light towards the sound, but never saw anything. So I whistled some tune, and from down the road I heard the same tune whistled back to me. Intrigued, I whistled again, this time a different tune, and again the same tune was whistled back. My brother's friends started getting scared and kept trying to get me to go back inside, but I was very intrigued. I whistled for the third time, and that was when, very close by, we both heard a male voice say, "Hey kid, come here." And there was no hesitation. The two of us bolted back inside. We went to go tell my mother what happened, and she was already frightened because she was tending to my brother's scratches on his chest. We told her what happened, and my mother told us to stay inside. My mother has had some pretty scary paranormal encounters before. I need to tell those stories soon as well, and she believed us. I've never forgotten that encounter. My brother brushes it off these days, making it out to be not a big deal, but I know differently, as does my mother. It's one of the many incidents in my life that literally bothers me to this day. It's one of the few incidents in my life that literally bothers me to this day. Hey, Billy Amber with the tube says, enjoying your stories while folding my undies. Just got like 300 pairs of underwear. And you have to count them out. Pair number 2. Pair number 56. Pair number 90. Lila, I don't see a different one, to be honest with you. There it is, I see it. It's in the center. It's a shamrock versus a 4-leaf clover. You can't trick us. Alright, so that was interesting. Man, what the hell is this song? Just gonna skip ahead a little bit. Would I ever consider doing more Filipino or Asian horror stories? The East have scarier stories. I would agree, actually. The East does have a lot of spooky stuff. And I would definitely consider that. If that's something that I would suddenly have available to me in abundance. Spooky West has 300 pairs. Do you count them out? Emily, you are just in time for story number 3, which is my great-grandmother, the devil, and aliens. I don't think you could really get much more diverse than that. Yeah, Mexico scary stories would be pretty cool. Anybody here live down that way? You have 3 pairs on right now, just stacking them. So you can poop in one and then just pull it off and get right to the next. Well, actually, that wouldn't really work because you have to take them all off. We are all just haunted meat walking around. That's kind of true. Possessed meat. Oh, you're going to Tulsa. That's cool. I hope I'm not abusing the encounter tag. It's not my encounter, but rather my late grandmother's. She met the devil and aliens gave her a... wow, okay. First, some information about my great-grandmother. She was born to immigrant parents in 1911 and passed away at the age of 94. Her father was an Englishman and her mother was from Luxembourg. Most of her family spoke German as well as English, However, great-grandma only knew a little German. Gigi's mother only spoke German and was almost completely deaf. Gigi relied on either her sisters to translate the mangled German or a crude family sign language they had developed. Gigi grew up in rural North Dakota. To frame the time period, she once told me about how she was a little girl. Gigi grew up in rural North Dakota. I don't know why this sounds so weird to me. Sorry. Evil Adam with the 2 says, need more social media catfish stories. I know, those are some of my favorites. Probably going to do some sort of social media stuff here soon. We're stacking them or packing them. Gigi grew up in rural North Dakota, and to frame the time period, she once told... Okay. Gigi grew up in rural North Dakota, and to frame the time period, she once told me about how when she was a little girl, her family would regularly barter with the members of the Mandan tribe, whom she described as real Indians, not like today. She also only attended the local school till about 6th grade. Later in life, she was not particularly bright, but not dumb. She was religious, but not a Bible thumper. The type of woman who would give you a religious birthday card and a Ninja Turtle action figure, who had a picture of Jesus but never said grace. The one thing she was always very serious about was how she met the devil. Gigi would tell the story when prompted, but she never seemed to enjoy it and was always consistent in her description. When she was 10 years old, she was misbehaving. Her father wasn't home, and her mother again didn't speak English. Her mother attempted to control her, but Gigi just ignored her. Finally, her mother tried to grab a hold of her, but Gigi flailed and almost hit her mother. Gigi's mother caught Gigi's hand and looked her cold in the eyes. She let her go and pointed at the closet and left the room. Gigi and her siblings were often sent to the closet as some sort of timeout, and she knew she had messed up, so she went to accept her punishment. When she opened the door, however, something was inside. She said that being... Gotta lube my lips. I already did. Those lips are lubed. She said the being had hooves and was covered in dark fur, which subsided a bit on the torso and chest up to the face. The being had a man's face with dark eyes, an unkempt beard, and a mop of dirty black hair, and from only one side of its head rose a deer antler. Gigi said that being stepped forward slightly before she slammed the closet doors shut. She shrieked, and her mother came to see what the commotion was. She could only really cry and wave her arms, but her mother opened the closet door anyway, and it was gone. She was always very serious about that story, and admittedly writing it even now makes me feel off somehow. That's the story of how my great-grandmother met the devil. However, she also said that aliens gave her a stroke. A few years before she died, Gigi had a number of strokes. She was in her 90s at the time. The first was not debilitating, it just took some time to recover. Some more quick info. Her and her husband, my great-grandfather, adored fast food. They had to substance hunt during the Depression to feed their children, so they marveled at good fast food. Great-grandpa loved McDonald's, but Gigi loved pizza, specifically Godfather's Pizza. After she had mostly recovered from her stroke, my family took my great-grandparents to Godfather's as a kind of celebration. Being a dumb kid, I got a bunch of quarters from my dad for arcade games and ignored my... Wait, what the fuck word is this? My I've literally never seen this word before.
Nonagenarian.
Nonagenarian. What the fuck? A person who is from 90 to 99 years old. Nonagenarian. Thank you. Thank you, Google. But being a dumb kid, I got a bunch of quarters from my dad for arcade games and ignored my nonagenarian great-grandparents. To this day, I regret not spending more time with them. I had an odd number of quarters after the games, and the restaurant had one of those little toy dispensers, the ones with plastic egg things. I bought one with my last quarter, and it was a tiny plastic alien giving a peace sign. Done with the games, I returned to the table. I was fiddling with the alien, classic gray looking, and Gigi noticed. When I set the alien down, Gigi took it and inspected it closely. With everyone at the table, she held up the alien and looked at me and said, "Them's the thing that come and got me." My mom, half laughing, said, "What, Grandma?" Gigi repeated herself, and then said they were the reason she was in the hospital. When my grandfather, Gigi's son-in-law, told her she was in the hospital because of a stroke, she said, "Them things gave me the stroke." The family sort of stopped pressing at this point and things settled down. Most of my family chalked it up to a joke or her stroke. I don't buy it as a joke. Gigi was sweet, but not a joker. Furthermore, I don't think she knew what a gray alien was. She hadn't seen a movie since the 1950s, she didn't watch TV, and she only really read the newspaper. She mostly did crafts and listened to music in her spare time. As for it being a stroke hallucination, maybe, but it's still weird. Okay. As for it being a stroke hallucination, maybe, but it's still weird. Yeah, these stories sometimes might not be the ones that tickle everybody's fancy, as far as really spooking you, but there's something about the paranormal stories, even if they do end kind of anticlimactically, the fact that they're just weird in general makes them awesome. Weird is good. Good is weird. Your asthma doesn't allow you to comfortably breathe dry or humid air. Yeah, how does asthma work? Anybody want to explain that to me? Anybody here got asthma? Jackie Nightshift, welcome. You're just in time for scary experience responding to a house. That's how the cookie crumbles with the real stories. This is true. But yeah, I do like the paranormal just because they're interesting. A Bigfoot story. I don't have any Bigfoot stories. I used to read a lot more back in the day, but I don't know what happened to them all. Guess Bigfoot's been on the, he's been hiding, I suppose. Marissa, that's the perfect time to have it. Or maybe the worst time. Feels like someone is strangling you and you can't breathe. Because of all the things you could be bad at, you suck at breathing. Asthma is a super condensed farts trapped in your lungs, like when you hold your farts, you get asthma. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Spartan, I know that, man. You don't have to at me for that. I am a Bigfoot. Yeah, that would actually be a good avatar, just like a Sasquatch avatar. But then everyone would think you're just strictly a Bigfoot channel. Just another Bigfoot channel. So this event happened approximately a week ago. I was going to post then, but I wanted to let this digest a bit and not post on a knee-jerk reaction. I'm a police officer in a city of about 30,000 people. I am currently assigned to our midnight shift, working the hours of 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. At the beginning of my shift, I am called to a house in what can be described as the wealthiest part of town. I am told by dispatch that the resident of the house, a teenage girl, believes that an adult male is attempting to enter the home. I activated my lights and sirens and arrived at the home at a short time later. I knock on the door and make contact with the caller, a frantic 18-year-old girl. My sergeant arrives. Oh, oops, I accidentally clicked. My sergeant arrives on scene a short time later. I ask her to describe what happened. She explains that while laying on the couch she heard pounding on the front door. She then looked out the peep and did not see anyone. She then heard banging on the back sliding glass door and screaming coming from outside. Again, she didn't see anyone. We ask if anyone made entry into the home. The complainant denies this. My sergeant and I check the area, finding no footprints in the yard. We also check the dew in the grass, finding it to be undisturbed. We also checked the glass for fingerprints and were unable to locate any. We chalked it up to this girl's friends playing a prank on her or her having an overactive imagination and leave the house. Approximately 3 hours later, we are called back to the residence. We are notified that the female believes someone to be inside the home this time. I beat my partner to the house by approximately 3 to 4 minutes. I enter and begin speaking with the complainant, who is visibly shaken. I am told that she was awoken by more banging and a man saying, "I know you are in here." The complainant states that she had barricaded the basement door with a chair, as she believes someone could easily enter the home through the attached garage. I tell her to stay put in the living room and go to search the basement garage. I draw my firearm and search the basement. During my search, I feel very uneasy, as if though I'm being watched. I complete my search as my partner arrives. I walk back upstairs and meet with her and tell her that I haven't cleared the rest of the home yet. She draws her weapon and helps me search the rest of the home. The last room we enter belongs to the complainant, and it's her bedroom. Inside the bedroom, we find a Ouija board to be in plain view. We deem the residence safe and go back to the living room. At this point, the complainant is frequently... Complainant. Is that the real word? If I've been saying it wrong the whole time, that would be...
Complainant.
Complainant. She's complaining a lot. I hate your new outro. The birds prepare me for the end. I don't know when to get upset because it ended now. Wait, I still have the birds at the end, don't I? Or do you not like the birds? Because the birds have been around for a long time. I'm confused. Someone tell me. The birds are still around, right? At this point, the complainant is frantically shaking and crying. We ask if she lives alone. She states that she says... We ask if she lives alone. She states that she stays with her grandparents. She also states that they are out of town on business. She states that she is frequently home alone due to her grandparents being out of town on business. I ask her to call and speak with her grandpa. I speak with him and learn that the complainant does not have any mental health issues, nor any behavioral issues. The complainant also does not use any form of drugs that he knows of besides nicotine. The grandpa states he is going to call another family member to come look after the complainant. We speak with the complainant again, learning that she does not currently suffer from mental illnesses. The complainant admits to smoking recreationally occasionally, but not partaking on any of the night of the disturbance. The complainant also advised us that she found the Ouija board that day hidden in a closet of the home. Her condition further degraded, and she requested that we take her somewhere else. My partner, being a female officer, transported the complainant back to our HQ, where she was picked up by a family member at a later time. I stayed at the home and searched the surrounding area again. I again did not locate any signs of a person being outside the home. I don't know if this is the right place to post this, but I believe this girl may have experienced something. I for sure did not feel good whilst being in that basement. I used to be a huge skeptic of the paranormal until I took this job. However, I have experienced and dealt with multiple things that I couldn't explain in regards to calls to service. My partner also stated to feel very uneasy while being in the house. Anyone thinks she may have stumbled across something, or did we just feed into the paranoia of a young girl who was home alone? Unfortunately, I have not been called out to the home ever since I have not... Unfortunately, I've not been called out to the home ever since, so I have not got to investigate into this occurrence. That sounds so strange. Unfortunately, I have not been called out to the home ever since, so I haven't gotten to investigate into this occurrence any further. Thanks for listening to my experience, and thank you for your time. Complainant. Oh, dude, we're almost at 600 people. Click that likey like button if you're just getting here. Wolfsfan, the birds are still around. The birds are so loud. Oh, is that what is not good about the birds? Are the birds really that loud? I thought they were kind of a chill thing. The birds don't care. Guys, we need to figure out what's these birds. Do they care? Are they loud? The bird. Are the birds the word? Everybody heard the bird, the word, the bird. What is the avatar representing? Oh man, these are some deep questions. Wait, Lipstick Lisa. Oh yeah, it was Lipstick Lisa that said it. No, she says no, yes. Can Cummins says, I don't love the birds. Veronica says the birds are at the perfect volume. How do you increase your story of your? How do you increase your chances of a story getting read? I don't know. Write a good story. Try to time. I'm thinking maybe try to time how distant my So I release a video Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and if you upload a story close to the day before a subscriber video, if you can anticipate that, which is hard to anticipate. But other than that, just write a good story, you know? Try your best to write a good, grammatically appropriate story that's easy on the eyes and good on the mind. Release the burbs. Do actually do the voice acting for the old woman, etc.? If so, that's grade A voice acting. Oh, thanks. Yeah, that was me being an old lady. Did it sound like an old lady to you? I'm so old. Oof. Oofy, I'm so old and I've been seeing aliens. Yes. Time for some more water. Honestly, you know why I did the birds? I talked about this before a while ago, but if you've ever seen Evil Dead, the original one, long before, well, I don't know if it's long before Boomstick Guy, but way before it became kind of this stylized sensation and it was just an outright horror movie with young people in a cabin. At the end, the girl leaves and the sun is coming up and she walks, in the direction of the woods towards the sun that's coming through the trees and you can hear the birds. And I'm like, people, a lot of horror movies don't do happy endings anymore, and then that one did a happy ending and I was like, wow, that was a really nice change up. Like, it was just like, everything's fine and here's some nice birds. And I was like, maybe I could have my endings of my videos be like that, where it was all scary and then the birds kind of like cleanse your palate a little bit, Diarrhea, actually. Oh, the actual horror movie Birds. I've never seen it with... Is it the Alfred Hitchcock? Hitchingcock? Alfred Big Hitchcock? Nate Goodman says, please, please, please read the message. I don't have long to live, and it's my last request for you to say hello to me, please. Well, hello, Nate. What's going on, man? Everybody, the bird is a word, and the bird, bird is a word. I don't really get that. Like on Snapchat, like people talk about streaks, and like I don't understand what's the point of streaks. Like why? Like I get what it is. Like you're on a streak of conversation with people or whatever on Snapchat, but what's the point? Like, do you unlock prizes? If there's no positive reinforcement to having a streak, what's the point of getting a streak? You know. It's kind of like in Overwatch, like they have like the endorsement things. Like you can be endorsement level. Like I go back and forth between 3 and 4 for whatever retarded reason. Like Blizzard probably is mad because I didn't, pledge allegiance to China that day or whatever. So they get rid of my endorsement. But it's so pointless, because it doesn't add anything to the game. It doesn't. I don't know. I don't really get it. So. What is the point? What is it? Oh, there is no point. It's for popular high schoolers. Oh, so am I a popular high schooler, guys? Do you think if I went to high school now, I would be how do you think as soon as I walked in, my head would just get dunked in a toilet, just buried? They would just drown me with swirlies. What if someone got a swirly and they just drowned them? That'd be terrible, right? Right, guys? That'd be terrible. Get yourself a nice cold beer and you're feeling A-okay. Oh, yeah. After a good streak. Alright, so I finally decided to share my story here because it's been over a decade since I told anyone. And yet, nobody seems to believe my stories. In all those years, I haven't managed to come up with an explanation for what happened to me when I was younger. Okay. Do I play any mobile games? Well, I was briefly playing that Raid Shadow Legends game to get like gameplay footage for the video for the advertisement. And it was, it was a good. It wasn't a terrible experience, you know what I mean? Like, but I've never really been one who jumps into mobile games a whole lot. I did briefly play. Actually, I know you guys probably just want me to read. Stories, but I think I want to tell you guys about some video games I have on my phone. Oh yeah, okay. So I have Fez. If you've ever played Fez, it's a platform puzzle game using 3 dimensions, and it's really good. It's kind of hard to play on the phone, like at least to be efficient with it. I would say get it on the PC or Xbox or whatever console, and then there was this other game called Monument, which was kind of similar to Fez in the fact that you're rotating different things for perspective, and the controls are specific for mobile, so it's a lot easier to play. I remember on the Xbox 360 I had Hexic HD, which was a game that actually came with the Xbox, and man, I love playing Hexic, so I got that on mobile. And then I have this other stupid puzzle game. It's called Mr. Bullet. And basically, you just like ricochet bullets off of stuff, and it if you can ricochet and hit everybody with the bullet or whatever, it's like you solve the level or win the level or whatever. Halo Infinite, yeah, I'm kind of excited for Halo Infinite, but is it gonna be on PC or no? Because I really want to play Halo on PC. Clash of Clans and Clash Royale, only games I play. Interesting. I know that there was this one YouTuber that my friend knew, And he's like, oh, whenever I told him I hadn't seen him in forever, and I told him that I do YouTube, and he was like, no way, my buddy does YouTube, and he has like, over 1 million subscribers, and his channel is called Gaming with Molt, and I never talked to Gaming with Molt before or anything like that, but Gaming with Molt plays a lot of Clash of Clans stuff, and I've always been curious, like, if you had a YouTube following, but that YouTube following is all like, you're like a Let's Player, like, so you have like your 9-year-old army at your ready, and I'm actually mildly curious to look at Gaming with Molt's channel to see how it's doing, because I remember he used to be killing it, and then randomly he changed his formula up oh so slightly, and he's at 2.59 million subs. I mean, okay, I mean, this isn't terrible. Like, Twitter chooses my deck in Clash Royale, so he did all the Clash Royale stuff, and he used to get like guaranteed like 200,000 to 300,000 views per video, and then he said he was stepping away from Clash Royale stuff, and it hurt him, which is unfortunate. I mean, he's still doing well on views, like in comparison to what it means to do well on YouTube and that kind of thing. Like, you're definitely living well, but I don't know. It's strange. That's the strange thing about YouTube, is that you change one little thing up and it can put your channel at a complete standstill for a while. Marissa says, I just bought my son a $2,000 gaming computer that he built himself. I'm such a good mom. Holy cow. Yeah, I would say you are. That is cray cray. And yeah, we got 620 individuals in chat right now, so that's huge. Was that an ooh sound? Ew, ew. Thank you for listening. Okay, so now we moved on to this one, the Pale Hand. Emily asks, can you send me memes, or would that be awkward? Oh no, I welcome all the memes. I'll probably end up posting them on my Instagram because I got nowhere else. I mean, we have a lot of memes on the Discord. I steal a lot from there. All good memes are stolen. Though I have made a few memes in my time. They don't get much traction. Lils with the 2 says, my friend Elliot says hi. Well, hello, Elliot. What's poppin' loppin'? And thank you, Lils, for the 2. We're going to bust into the story here. So this forced... shit. Right out the gate. This forced story in 3 years ago. So this first story took place when I was around the age of 7. I vividly remember me and my twin brother were just playing around in our backyard like little kids do. I remember we were sitting on the ground and playing around one of those heavy parasol things, which had no parasol in it. Eventually, me and my brother both sat around the parasol stand, just playing with some little toy cars or something. This is the moment me and my brother both saw a pale hand coming out of the hole on the top. Me, being the curious kid I was, touched the hand, and I remember it felt very cold. Eventually, the hand just slid back in the parasol stand, and we weren't really freaked out for some reason. Wait, is that a thing? A parasol? Parasol? The fuck is a parasol?
Parasol.
Parasol. A light umbrella used to give shade from the sun. I don't know why that sounded so weird. I don't remember being spelled that way. Parasol. Castle Reviews with a 10 says, what did you think of the Joker film? I thought it was great. I'm not going to ruin it for anybody, but I think the Joker film had some of the best character development in a movie that I have seen in quite a while. And I think it's an absolute must-go see if you have a chance to see it in theaters. Don't want to say anything beyond that. Also, it's so funny. Like you go to Metacritic, or maybe it was like freaking stupid Rotten Tomatoes. Guys, Rotten Tomatoes, look what they said. Oh, Miss Molly, just 'cause I love you and I like giving you hard time seeing. That's that's so true. Thank you, Molly, for the 3. Because my screen for donations over there, or for the Streamlabs, goes over to the other screen, and I can't, like, my stupid eyes can't see it. Which, thank you, Molly, for that. It's really funny whenever you read a joke and it's like, I don't know, it hits when the joke hits you. All right. Whoa, Asgard's Wrath. What game is that? It's getting a 92. All right, real quick. I'm going to the Joker reviews. I don't want to read the reviews to you because I honestly want you guys to go into this kind of blind, and I didn't want to give you too much. But it's crazy because look at this. Metacritic score is giving it an average of a 59 out of 100, which is kind of poor, not terrible. But then all the user reviews, it's 9.3 out of 10, and I would totally be on that 9 point. I would say 9.3 sounds like the perfect rating for this movie. But it's just like, why? Like, what? Like, who are these people reviewing movies? Like, the disconnect between like the media, the critics, and the people who like are in charge of culture and all that nonsense, like, and the actual like us, like me and you, like, and our enjoyment of entertainment and what we deem to be good is so utterly different, like, as you can see. And to me, I don't know, it's just so silly. It's crazy. I'm gonna let my cat out real quick. Okay, let us continue. ASL slaps forehead. What's ASL? Oh, I haven't heard that in forever. Glitch in the Matrix could be paranormal. I think so. Some of them are pretty cray-cray. Eventually the hand just slid back into the parasol stand, and we weren't really freaked out for some reason. We calmly explained to our mom what had happened, and obviously she just played it off like it was just our imagination. To this day, around 15 years later, me and my brother both swear to God we both saw that hand. The second story is about me having really weird night terrors when I was younger. So I would say I was around the age of 5 when the story took place, and I remember it would happen almost every other night. So I would be laying in bed, sound asleep, and all of a sudden I would just randomly wake up in the middle of the night. I'm guessing this would be around 2 to 3 a.m. As my eyes got adjusted to the dark, I would start to look around my room, wondering what woke me up. Eventually, once my eyes had fully adjusted to the dark, I would see this pale hand coming out of my wall, which would be coming towards me, trying to touch me. This would happen so frequently that I just got used to it and would just leave my room for about half an hour, and then I would come back and go back to sleep. The strange thing is, the wall the hand was coming from was one of the outer walls of our house on the second floor. So nobody should have been able to get to me, even if there was a hole in that wall, which wasn't the case, obviously. Also, the fact that I always woke up before this happened makes it impossible to write off as a bad dream. It also wasn't sleep paralysis. Maybe I was able to look around. Oh, sorry. I like petting my cat and shoving my face into his face and all the good lovey-dovey stuff you do with a cat. But I swear to God, every time I do, all of his fur gets in my nose and just lingers in weird places that eventually tickles me as I'm trying to read. Did you ever get a tickle? Anybody ever get a tickle on their face? It also wasn't sleep paralysis because I was able to look around, move my arms and legs, and I could also get up. Fast forward to a few years later, and we found out our house was built almost on top of a historic burial site where a famous murderer from the 1700s was presumably buried. I did some research on this criminal, and he did not have a happy ending. According to a diary from someone who witnessed his execution back in 1775, he was strapped down in a chair for 114 consecutive days before he was brutally executed. Was it just my childhood imagination, or was it the criminal trying to make one more victim from the grave? Hey, see ya, Spartan. Thanks for being here, dude. He's a ninja cat. He's a fat cat. You should replace the birds with a recording of your cat meowing. Yeah, my cat doesn't meow a whole lot. Though that wouldn't be a bad idea if I had some stuff. The only time he meows is when he wants in the room and he's also smashing his body against my door to get in. Your 6 cats make your fan in your room furry. Man, 6 cats. How do you... that sounds like so much cat shit to clean up. That actually seems very difficult. Because don't you need, more than the 6 cats amount of, different litter boxes available to them so they have their own scenario? I could be wrong, but it sounds messy. And a lot of hair, too. Do you Shane Dawson your cat? What does Shane do to his cat? Did he stick a firecracker in his cat's bumhole? Because that would be sadistic. Belief solidified. Before I begin, I just want to make it clear that these stories are true. Blah, 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 blah. I used to work at a diner in Spanish Fork, Utah. Okay. I used to work at a diner in Spanish Fork, Utah. It is a small diner, but pretty active with ghosts. The first experience I heard about was when a coworker of mine, Mia, had something thrown at her. I was present when this happened, but had my back turned on her, so I didn't see it directly. I just suddenly heard Mia and my manager yelling in shock. I asked what happened, and Mia said, "I was just printing labels, and the container fell and hit my thigh." I know layouts are normally useless, but I believe a layout explanation is necessary here so you understand why we were all so shocked. Mia was standing at the computer, which we had in the server's aisle. It was an open restaurant, so the only thing separating the server's aisle was a bar. To the left of the bar was a little closed-in section with hot sauce and other condiments, ice, and iced tea, coffee, and their respective brewers. The iced tea brewer was at the far left, closest to the wall. The computer was in a cart in front of the brewer. Shit. JJ Manson says, Joel, would you ever do a face reveal? I'm sorry if I'm bothering you and you answered this before. Hopefully soon. Yes, so no worries. You're not bothering me. I like answering questions. My face is on the Discord. So if someone wants to explain to him how to find that on the Discord, it's pretty easy. Once you join Discord, you can go to my channel, or the Selfies channel. It's the pinned comments up there. Some of the pictures are from a few years ago, but honestly I haven't really changed a whole lot. Other than being balder, maybe. Just kidding. Okay. Where the crappity dappity doodah. I don't even remember where I was. To the left of the bar was a little closed-in section with hot sauce and other condiments, ice, and iced tea and coffee in their respective brewers. The iced tea brewer was at the far left, closest to the wall. The computer was in a cart in front of the brewer. This is where Mia was standing, printing labels. On top of the iced tea brewer was... Oh my god, why did I click? I have my hand on my mouse and it you get a sudden knee-jerk reaction. You click your mouse. On top of the iced tea brewer was the brew... Wait, fuck, I don't remember if I just said that or not. I literally have the worst memory right now. The brew funnel was... What the fuck? The iced tea brewer was at the far left, closest to the wall. The computer was in a cart in front of the brewer. This is where Mia was standing, printing labels. On top of the iced tea brewer was the brew funnel. The brew funnel was what ended up hitting Mia on her thigh. It's important to mention, though, that it was pretty far back, so it couldn't have just fallen. And even if it did, it wouldn't have hit Mia's thigh. It would have just fallen straight down. Our manager said that it looked like someone swiped it off the iced tea brewer, but gravity ultimately... Sorry. Bleh, bleh, bleh. Brewer, 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 brewer. Our manager said that it looked like someone swiped it off the iced tea brewer, but gravity ultimately won, and instead of hitting Mia on the head, it was on a path to hit her on the head. It hit her on her thigh. After that, Mia and I spent a lot of time talking about how haunted the diner is. She had been there since it opened, so she told me a lot of stories that I wasn't aware of before. She said that scissors, knives, and other dangerous and/or heavy objects had been thrown at the employees. She also shared the theory that the reason why businesses located at that building never made it past 5 years was because it was on cursed ground. Spanish Fork is one of the locations where a war between Native Americans and Mormon settlers took place, so I believed it. I asked her if anyone had died at the restaurant, and she said, yes, some construction workers died. After hearing that, I thought I'd ask some more of my coworkers, and, well, it wasn't in vain, to say the least. Another coworker, Madison, told me about the time she had an experience. She told me she had gone to the bathroom, and while she was doing her business, she heard someone coming in and going into the handicap stall. Madison finished and went over to wash her hands, but she noticed that the handicap stall door was ajar. When she finished washing her hands, she checked the stall, and to her surprise, no one was there. She said that the person was particularly loud when they first went into the What? Oh, they first went into the bathroom. Yummy Bells, the 250 yen, says bibbidi bobbidi boo. Bibbidi bobbidi boo. Oh no, she just cast a spell. Thank you, Yummy. It's good to see you. Happy holidays, Lewis. Happy dappy holidays. Iced tea brewers. Yeah, I guess mainly restaurants have those, but Pink Bunny says, I want to stay the night on the Queen Mary, a haunted hotel ghost ship, and while I was sleeping, a water bottle flew off the nightstand and hit me in the face. I believe in ghosts. They're jerks. Honestly, I think about being a ghost. And also we're over 700 viewers right now. It's pretty dank, guys. Thanks for being so dank. I feel like it would suck to be a ghost. You're just perpetually stuck in a state of trying to get people's attention. I feel like eventually I would just want to scare everyone out of spite, you know what I mean? What the fuck? Why am I stuck here in this stupid house? And why is no one paying attention to me? I think the record we had for the number of most people here is 1,200 people. That was a while ago. But 700 is pretty baller. Pretty baller. Free baller. Yeah, if you share the stream, yeah, let's do it. Let's get past 1,000 peeps. Go share the stream with 1,000 more people. Thank you. She said the person was particularly loud when they first went into the bathroom, so Madison found it weird that she didn't hear the person getting out. After returning to the server's aisle, it dawned on her that the restaurant was empty as the rush had been over, and her and the other servers were cleaning up for the next shift. Then I talked to Madison's brother, Caden, who was a graveyard cook at the time. He said that he had seen 2 different apparitions while working that shift. The first one was when he saw someone walking to the dry storage room. He thought it was the server he was working with, Taya, so he went to see if she needed help. Layout of the back house, dish room to the left, then manager's office adjacent to the dish room. The kitchen was to the right, and behind the kitchen was the walk-in and freezer. Behind the dish room was the dry storage room. When he reached the dish room, he saw that no one was there, so he thought maybe Taya had gone to the walk-in. He checked, and she wasn't there. He checked the dish room, and nothing, so he went out to the front of the house. To his surprise, she was clear in the back, taking drinks to a table, so there's no way she would have been able to go to the back of the house, fill the cups, and take the drinks to said table in the time it took Caden to check the back. The next one happened a few weeks after that. He was cleaning the kitchen and just trying to make time go by as it had been a slower night. He looked up and saw a little boy running towards the door to the exit. Oops. A little boy. He looked up and saw a little boy running towards the door to exit the restaurant. Caden later told Taya, what kind of parent would bring their child to a restaurant at 3 a.m.? Taya was clearly confused and told him that she hadn't served any tables with kids that whole night. Maybe I should have said that more spooky-like. Let's create the pottery scene from Ghost. But I get to be the pottery. You can just mold my face into whatever shape. Taya was clearly confused and told him that she hadn't served any tables with kids that whole night. The next stories happened to me. I was taking a table's order one day and saw someone walking behind me. It distracted me and I looked behind me, but there was no one there. I looked to where the bathrooms were because I thought maybe that's where the person was headed, but there was no one there either. The only person who was near me, other than the people at my table, was my coworker Lauren. She was to the left of me setting tables, so she couldn't have been the one who walked behind me to go to the bathrooms, which were to the right. I know someone walked behind me. I saw it, but I also felt it. You know those vibrations you feel when someone walks near you? I felt that, and the wind that comes after someone walks by you. I've seen shadow figures all over the place. One was even charging towards me. I've seen chairs moving, and my name has been said by disembodied voices. One time, a child ghost, maybe the same one Caden saw, dropped my tray full of cups of water. All of them broke, and I got wet. I know it was a ghost because there was no way that tray could have fallen, but I also heard a child laughing after the tray fell. Not only that, but I also felt the presence of a younger spirit. Needless to say, that diner is definitely haunted by several spirits. Some seem angry at us, whereas others seem like troublemakers or even lost souls. Shit, sorry. I was thinking it'd be funny, like, you walk up to someone with a bunch of scalding hot coffee, whoops, and like drop it on them. Sorry, it must have been the ghost. Oh my gosh, it's the ghost again. Just throwing scalding hot coffee on everyone. Whoa, this place is so haunted. Some seem angry at us, whereas others seem like troublemakers or even lost souls. Yeah, that sounded weird. Crystal Valadier with the 5 says, I love the beard, Joel. Thanks. It's been taking a lot of hormones to make it grow. Oh, Phase Beast, I missed your Donation with the 2 says, "Will you be Alfred Hitchcock for Halloween?" Yeah, what's he look like? Is he kind of like a hottie? Is he like a sexy dude? A hot, sexy e-boy? Was Alfred Hitchcock an e-thought? Is that what he was? Needless to say, that diner is definitely haunted by several spirits. Some seem angry at us, whereas others seem like troublemakers or even lost souls. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Fergie Ferg. Alright, the way that this story is formatted, I don't know why on my subreddit sometimes the formatting's weird, that it will like create like a window within a window that has like a scroll, like the text will scroll. I'm gonna have to just submit it again in normal form. Okay. Okay. Called Haunted Hospital. So, yeah, so whoever submitted the Haunted Hospital story, I apologize. I'm going to have to just resubmit it here. Not that it matters. Not like anybody's... This was resubmitted on your subreddit. What the heck, man? I sit on the subreddit all day long and check and make sure that all the formatting's exactly perfect. I never say anything about it, but I check. Okay, unpin that one, close it. Here we go. Haunted Hospital. The true roasted coffee. I want to roast you with this roasted coffee. Literally. Billy says, Joel, would you like to get molded by my chest? I'm having difficulties visualizing how that would pan out. How do you make a hormone? Don't pay her. Oh, nice. 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 All right. Can we get a nice in the chat? Nice. Nice. I don't ask for much from everybody, but this time we're going to have to get a nice. I'm a 28-year-old female. I currently work as a cardiac monitor technician in a hospital 30 minutes south of a major city. The hospital is actually relatively new. It opened independently in the early 90s, but by the year 2000, it was bought by a Catholic organization, and the sisters completely changed the way the hospital was run. For those who don't know, hospitals who are trauma certified are qualified and governed by state laws. The level qualifications vary from state to state, but just know that level 1 trauma is the most severe. We're talking gunshot wounds, motor vehicle crashes, stabbings, basically the worst of the worst emergencies. The level designation is in place to determine where patients who are being brought in by ambulance should go depending on the severity of the situation. This is all relevant, as my hospital used to be a level 1 trauma center in the 2000s, but to put it bluntly, there is no money to be made in trauma work. These patients often have little to no insurance and cannot pay, or they don't make it. Therefore, it was decided by corporate that we would no longer offer trauma services, and severe cases would have to be airlifted out to the nearest trauma center. As in any hospital, there is always death, both expected and unexpected. Not as much as you think, really. I mean, it's not like there's a death every day, but they do happen, and it's always a sobering thing, be it expected or not, at least for me. Because this used to be a trauma center, there were many, many more tragic cases and a lot more deaths back in those days. Sudden and unexpected deaths often end in hauntings, and frankly, I believe that after what I experienced on this night... Oops, that sounded weird. Do 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 do. Can you name that tone? Not tone, but tune. Spicy Joel, yummy and hot. You call him cool, you call him an e-thought. Sudden and unexpected deaths often end in hauntings, and frankly, I believe that after what shit, I don't know what that sounds like oddly worded that my mind gets thrown. For a loop. For a loop. I am singing Doug. Nice. I like Doug, but Doug was such a bitch. Like, I like my main characters, like, to be hardcore. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be hardcore. Like, obviously you go through adversity, but, like, I feel like you had Doug. You know, you had Doug. Doug was kind of like Hey Arnold, you know? But where, like, Arnold eventually, like, stuck up for himself from time to time, or, like, you know, I don't know, kind of overcame certain things. Like, Doug was just, like, consistently, like, a little bitch. And I'm sorry to use such a mean word, but I couldn't handle Doug. Doug sucked. Doug sucks. Honestly, I hope Roger Klitz gets with Patty Mayonnaise. Like, I don't even give a shit. Brad Allen with the 10. What's up, Brad? What's good, homie Jizzle? No, Arnold was cool. Honestly, Hey Arnold was like one of my favorite shows, just because there was like amazing storylines, really, really good artwork, animation. There was great themes and lessons to be learned. And yeah, Rocco's Modern Life was awesome. I kind of really like enjoyed like the more absurd stuff. Killer Tofu. There were certain. Do you ever almost kind of like force yourself to watch cartoons when you're younger, where it was on, so you just like didn't really have any other option in your like little kid head. You're like, well, fuck it, it's right in front of my face, and I don't really like it, but I'm watching every episode and every season. That's how I was with Doug. I was just like, come on, hurry up and get Doug over with. That's not completely true. I'm sure there were times I liked Doug a little bit. Phase Beast with the 2 says, hey, I remember Hey Arnold and Chalk Zone. I'm a 90s kid. Yeah, there's a funny meme where it was like 90s kids and like, I think it's like that YouTube thumbnail, clickbait thumbnail, where the guy's screaming and there's a tornado behind him and he's the 90s kid, and then the tornado is like entering their 30s or something like that. Brittany says, here we go, 90s nostalgia circle jerk. It's so true. That's all right. What generations, what show could we circle jerk with you to make you happy? Just tell me. I'll talk about it. I'll pretend I know something about it. Digimon? Are you a Digimon person? Transformers. Sudden and unexpected deaths often ended in hauntings, and frankly, I believe that after what I experienced on this night. When I was new here several years ago, I got onto the topic of ghosts and the paranormal with a nurse I was working with at the time. I'll call her Nicole, as I truly believed my apartment back then was haunted. That's a story for another time. When I brought this up, she asked if I'd ever heard of the little girl with no face who haunts this big long hallway that connects the whole hospital, which we call the spine. I said, no, I haven't. Nicole went on to explain, well, supposedly she died when this place still took trauma cases. The rumor is that she was shot in a drive-by on her way to school and bled out and died in the ER before her parents got there, because she'd come in by ambulance. It's probably nonsense, I don't know. I don't know why she shows up in the spine, but a lot of people have seen her down there, and when they see her, she's got a long white dress on, and no one can see her face. It's always a solid little girl with all the right features except all white and no eyes, no mouth, no nose. On the occasions where people have seen her, a patient goes on to die that night. It always seems to line up. I was pretty dumbfounded by this. For one or two people to see a ghost is unlikely, but for multiple people to give accounts of the same thing, plus documented deaths, there must be something behind it, right? It was about a year later that I had my own experience, and it made me 100% a believer for life. I worked the overnight shift, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., and since it's 12 hours, we always take a few breaks to get out of the room we sit in to watch the heart monitors. It's basically a broom closet, tiny, cramped, and hot, so I'm always happy to get out. I had gone into the break room, which is on the other end of my unit, and on that end to the right is a set of double doors leading into the spine. I walk into the break room, microwave my lunch, and sit there, enjoying the peace and quiet while eating my food. Once I'm done, I open the door to head back to my station when, out of the corner of my eye, I see someone standing in the spine. This is unusual as it's not a hallway and the employees use it. Oops. This is unusual as it's not a hallway the employees use at night. In fact, those doors are usually kept closed and no one is supposed to be out there, so this person immediately caught my attention. I turned to fully look at them and, I kid you not, there she is. All white, long flowing white gown, and no face. She has no facial features whatsoever, but she is facing me. As I froze and stared at her, I couldn't help but notice she wasn't actually touching the ground. The bottom of her dress was about 5 or 6 inches off the floor, like she was hovering. I felt a bad presence. In healthcare, you tend to go with your intuition or gut instincts about people and situations because sometimes it's all you have. As she stood there in front of me, I got this horrible, gut-churning feeling. A feeling like she had bad intentions. Like she wanted to do harm. I don't know. Either way, it wasn't a pleasant feeling. It was one of those feelings where you feel like your heart dropped into your stomach. All the hairs in my entire body stand up and a shiver runs down my back as I stood there, maybe 20 feet away from this little girl, and my mind went absolutely blank as to what I should do. Do I acknowledge her? Do I just keep walking and pretend I didn't see her? I have no idea. At this point, I'm in such shock that I don't think I've gotten a word out anyway. My mouth was clenched shut. Just as I am questioning what I should do, she begins to change shape into what I can only describe as a mist or smoke, and moves quickly to the left side of the hallway and disappears just like that. As this happens, an ice-cold breeze wafts into me. I begin to internally freak out, and quickly begin to speed walk back to the monitoring room, wondering what I had just witnessed. The best part is, the charge nurse relieving me for the break is the very same nurse who told me about the girl in the first place. As I return to the monitors, Nicole clearly notices I'm freaked out and shaken a little. Maybe I actually look like I saw a ghost, as they say. Nicole asks me what happened, and I explain to her everything that I saw, and she begins to freak out a little too. She says, "I wonder if someone's going to die tonight then." I'd completely forgotten about that part of the rumor, and now I begin to freak out even more. If someone did start dying, I'd be the first to know since I'm watching every patient's heart on the 3 computer monitors in front of me. It's hard to explain, but if someone is on the verge of death, there are obvious signs I look for. Coincidences do happen, of course, and as it happens, I did have a patient who was actually right across the hall from the room where I sit who was not doing well at all. Nicole's patient, he'd been in that room for approximately 2 weeks by then. He was terminally ill as it was. Lung cancer had metastasized and spread to his whole body, including his bones. Small cell lung cancer is very aggressive. Nothing to be done except manage the pain. I can't even begin to imagine the pain he must have been in. The poor man actually began to beg for death as the night dragged on, which made me wonder if the girl was perhaps an angel of mercy instead of something purely evil, because he got his wish. He was what is called a DNR. Do not resuscitate, meaning no life-saving measures. If he begins to die, then he dies. We do exactly nothing except make them comfortable. Given his sorry state and the amount of pain he was experiencing, if the girl was responsible, his last breath was truly a mercy. Listening to someone begging God to kill them and make all the pain stop is so gut-wrenching and heartbreaking. He did eventually begin to pass out at 3 a.m. I saw it start happening on the monitor. His heart rate just got slower and slower and slower until there was nothing but a flat line. It's usually a somber thing, but I was actually grateful. He got what he wanted, and his pain was over. In the end, it would appear the rumor is true. The faceless girl in white appeared, and within a few hours, a patient passed away. Could be a coincidence, of course, but I find that highly unlikely. I think maybe she really is an angel of mercy, waiting for someone who is critically ill, willing or wants to go, and helping them pass on. Maybe that's why she sometimes appears before someone dies. If it isn't that, she's maliciously causing the deaths, but rather holding a sick person's hand as they cross to the other side. Oh, whoops. And a whoop. Maybe that's why she sometimes appears before someone dies. It isn't that she's maliciously caused. Oh, I see. Okay. Hey, thank you to the Native Man with the $5 of spooky season. Heck yeah. We're in the dead heat of it, and we have 850 viewers right now. My God. That's amazing. Thank you, guys. Thank you. And original Asherella with the 5 says, "Are you afraid of the dark? I would still watch Snick if it came on. The Adventure of Pete and Pete is one of the greatest shows ever." I know. Those were the days, man. Pete and Pete was awesome. Just because it was one of those shows that just, like, it was very experimental and weird, and it didn't hold back, you know? And it was funny to see, like, Danny Tamborelli, like, obviously he went on to do All That and that kind of thing, but then he was in Grand Theft Auto 5, and I was like, that's so freaking cool, dude. That's so freaking cool. It isn't that she maliciously is causing the deaths, but rather holding a sick person's hand as they cross to the other side. Maybe she facilitates that journey. Perhaps that's why I had the reaction to her that I did, and got that sick feeling that something bad was about to happen. But what may seem like something bad can actually turn out to be a blessing in disguise. At least, that's what I'd like to believe. Pink Bunny said she almost squashed her cat sitting on the butt. Honestly, I've done with that with Pradeep so many times where I go to sit back on my bed and he's like, "Oh, hey, that's me sitting there." But thankfully, he's got like a designated spot that he likes to maintain, and as long as I avoid that, I won't kill him. Wolves fan, how many stories left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 stories. Holy shit, this one's long as fuck. Yeah, thanks, Natalia. Yeah, if you guys want to check out the merch, got some pretty cool merch over there on shop.spreadshirt.com/let's read. And then, if you do get merch, send me a pic, and we'll put it on InstaSlam. And we can promote you, all the good stuff. Tea slurping. Alright, this one's called Our True Colors. I gotta remember to mark on these that I've read them, because I sometimes forget. I wish I could just press a button rather than typing stuff in. But no biggie. It's just that if I mark them as read, Oh, wow. Didn't even notice this one. Our true color. Maybe I'll read this one first since... Okay. Here we go. I've been hearing and reading a lot lately about people having crazy experiences with shadow figures. I don't know why. Has there been an influx or something? And every time I do, I think of the experience I had with one when I was 13, about 8 years ago now. Back then, I had just gotten a loft bed, the black wooden one from IKEA to be specific. Every night when I'd go to sleep, I'd keep the TV on, which sat on my dresser across from the bed because the noise would lull me to sleep. Well, that night the noise and the light was keeping me up. Thanks, radiation. So I decided to turn it off. When I did, my bedroom was pitch black. My door was closed. I didn't have any night lights and no other devices were on. I rolled over onto my side, facing towards the wall, and closed my eyes. A few minutes went by and I was still wide awake. I was beginning to get frustrated because I still couldn't fall asleep. Just as I was thinking about this, I got the feeling that I wasn't alone anymore. You know how you can just tell when someone's walked into the room, almost like the energy or density changes? Well, I had an older sister who had a habit of creeping into my room late at night to steal my stuff, so I thought, okay, it's just Hannah getting something. But when I opened my eyes, my room was still dark. This told me it wasn't her because whenever she'd come in, she'd leave the door open a crack and the hallway light would shine through. Plus, she's incredibly loud, although she tried her best to be as quiet as to not wake me up, but my room was absolutely silent. As soon as this realization dawned on me, an overwhelming sense of dread came over me. I knew someone was in the room with me, just as I know my own name, but since the human mind needs tangible proof of everything, I decided to check just in case I was imagining it. If you know anything about loft beds, you know those things are loud when you move, since you're basically propped up on stilts in the air. So as I moved, I tried to do so as quietly as possible so that whatever was in the room with me wasn't aware I was there, and knew it was there too. When I finally reached the slats and looked down through them, sure enough, there was this black figure in the shape of a person standing in front of my dresser. I straight up knew whatever this thing was, it was evil because A, malevolence practically oozed from it and spread over my bedroom, and B, this thing was literally blacker than the darkness of my bedroom. Like imagine being in a pitch black room, then a figure materializes, no tangible features, just a straight up filled in outline in the shape of a person that is darker than the dark. That's what this thing was. I don't know how, but as soon as I laid my eyes on this thing, I saw it turn its head and look at me. Again, it didn't have any features, so I didn't physically see its eyes looking at me, but it's almost like I could see it, feel it in my mind. It paralyzed me. Then it began moving and walking towards my ladder like it was going to climb up. I shot straight up in terror, knowing that if this thing got to me, something bad was sure to happen, and reached out my arm to turn on my ceiling fan light. Luckily, it was literally less than a foot away from where I was. I yelled out the guardian angel prayer as fast as I could, and my mouth stumbled over the words in my haste, and as soon as I finished, I felt this overwhelming sense of peace and love come over me like I've never felt before, as if something was there protecting me. When that feeling came, all sense of darkness and negativity just shattered. I was so calm and at peace, almost like I'd taken a Xanax, although I didn't know what that feeling was until years later, insert punchline drum sound, that I just flicked the light back off and instantly fell asleep. I haven't seen a shadow person since, but I do feel people or things standing near my bed at night all the time. It'll wake me up, but I'll never see anything. Whenever I feel like I'm not alone, I'll imagine a white light surrounding me and emanating from my body and tell whatever it is in my mind that it's not welcome and must leave. Works every single time without fail, but the experience I had when I was 13 terrified me, and I hope it never happens again. Badumts. Badumts. What if I actually did put a badumts right in the middle of the story? Oh wow, we're at 900. Honestly, that's crazy. If we get to 1,000 tonight, that would be... I'll take my freaking pants off. You won't be able to see it, but I'll do it. The legendary stream of Let's Read removing his pantaloons. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Fuck. All right. Time to pop off. What time is it? It is 11:46, which we're probably going to be going past midnight now that we have more stories. Picks, or it didn't happen, that's true. I saw Markiplier had released a while ago, like a nude calendar. Anybody see this? Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? Alright. Put the pants on my cat. Yeah, he might like him. He might sleep inside of him. My cousin and I shit. It's always like finding that rhythm to start a story. I'm just like fumble over the words. My cousin and I have always been very close and very spiritual. Spiritual? I'm so spiritual. My cousin and I... Shit. Okay, here we go. My cousin and I have always been very close and very spiritual. Though we've always viewed our spirituality in different ways, we have always believed in ghosts. That was one of the many common threads that we talked about openly and frequently, especially when we figured out that not everyone believed in ghosts as well. About a decade ago, we were teenagers. My cousin and I lived across the country from one another. The separation in our spiritual perspectives was growing larger every time we spoke. He was very fascinated by demons and the macabre aspects of good versus evil. If he tried to fraternize with spirits, he aimed to hunt down demons or create an environment for them to be more likely to be present. That included carving pentagrams into any surface he could find, or basically just inviting these things around. I, on the other hand, didn't see any need to talk with demons. Human spirits and natural forces are far more interesting. I spent a lot of time meditating and trying to interact with any spirit I came across that didn't feel malignant. I like to think of myself as sensitive, but I'm not a full-on medium. I am open to those interactions, and I trust my gut as much as possible. I found a kindred spirit in a friend that I met at school, Clara. We became fast friends, and before long I found out that she believed in ghosts too. Fuck. Ghosts? She believes in ghosts. Bubs, what's up? With the 10 buckarones says, just joining. Been slow dancing with my future wife. This weekend we will be married. Haven't had funds due to wedding planning. Do now. Here you go. Shout out to Chelsea. Well, hey, shout out Chelsea. Congrats. Congrats. That's crazy. Slow dancing is good. I wish I had... I don't know if I have the best music on in the background for slow dancing, but you can try it. We became fast friends, and before long I found out that she believed in ghosts too. Her experiences tend to be a bit more traumatizing than my own, but like the kinder side of spirits and... What? Oh, kinder. Why the hell did I say kinder? Her experiences tended to be a bit more traumatizing than my own, but she liked the kinder side of spirits and physically felt ill any time she encountered a bad spirit. My cousin found a friend that believed in the paranormal as well. He introduced this friend to me, and after a while we started a long-distance relationship. I didn't know his feelings about ghosts, but I knew that if he was hanging out with Anthony, he probably had a feel for the macabre. Eventually, the time finally came that I could take my best friend up to see my family. I was very excited to get her up there. I wanted her to see the place that I have always considered to be my home, and I wanted her to get to know my cousin. He was like a brother to me, and it turned out she developed a little crush on him from my stories about him, chats, and pictures. I was also happy that I could finally hang out with my then-boyfriend in person. At some point, I told Anthony that Clara is sensitive like us. He seemed vaguely interested and mentioned that Ray, the guy I was seeing, was also sensitive. I thought that was neat and left it at that. Anthony had other plans. At the first opportunity he could find, Anthony suggested the four of us go for a walk, right as the sun was setting. He wanted to go to the park that was across the street from his apartment complex. It was a large wooded area with a winding walking path around a small lake. It was pretty nice. It had a playground for a little kid. Oops. Ripshy daisy. Insert thirsty comment. Thank you, Weston. It had a playground for little kids, gazebos, and a handful of benches. There was a bridge or two over some wide streams. The park was lovely, and I was enthusiastic about going to it. Clara seemed happy to go, and Ray didn't have to be asked twice. It was only once we were outside and away from the adults that Anthony said that it was haunted. Clara seemed a little tense, but we went anyway. The air was a little brisk, and leaves crunched under our feet. There was a couple mounds of snow here and there, but nothing major. We could see the sunset through the tree branches, and we were all talking and laughing. At first, Ray would not stop touching me. It was a little awkward because my cousin and best friend were right there, but when Anthony walked ahead of us, Ray followed. It was a relief to hang back and talk to Clara. Once we were in the park, just past the playground, Anthony took us to the edge of the lake next to the walking path. We looked across the water, and Anthony told Clara about the ghost that he suspected was in the woods. Anthony hidden. Oops. Joel's juice. Snorting a little bit of Joel's juice. Yeah, Ray did get thirsty, man. What the hell, Ray? Be cool, Ray. Be cool, man. Control your primal urges, man. Come on, man, Ray. There's a ghost here. You can't be trying to, fraternize. Anthony hinted that he thought the spirit was evil, and Ray said that it looked just like his grandpa. I wasn't buying it. From where we were standing, everything just felt right. It was calm and serene. The breeze felt nice, and that crisp autumn air was intoxicating. I opened up my senses further, but I still didn't feel anything wrong. When it was time to start down the path, I drifted ahead of everyone. I could tell they were tense and a little freaked out, and I didn't want to get mixed up in it. I was on cloud 9. Shit. God damn it. I don't know why sometimes, I go to say a word and it just comes out as like a marbled mush. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. And that is at least until we took about a dozen steps into the wooded area. All of a sudden, I didn't feel safe being so far ahead and chalked it up to feeling guilty about not walking with my friends and family. I hung back until I was walking with them. It did not take long for Anthony to take the lead. Clara did not seem pleased to be taking that path, so I stayed close to her. Ray went from Anthony to me and back again. He was smiling, happy. Anthony walked with determination. The further we walked, the less eager and pleasant Ray became. By the time we crested the highest hill in the park, he was positively... What the fuck? He was positively despondent. Jeez, that was a big word out of nowhere, man. It's like a freaking landmine. It's like fighting all these level 1 monsters and then a level 5 monster comes out of nowhere. We'll send Joel's juice for $10, used lip gloss for $15, bath water for $30. What about my spit bucket? How much is that going for? Joel's juice is unleaded. Buy now. True. It's pure. It's the purest juice you can get. We're at 935 people. Are we going to get to 1K by the end of the stream? Are we going to do it? Sometimes I kind of wonder, what if I were streaming the normal duration that most streamers stream? Like, some of them go for like 8 hours. Like, how many people would be in here? Am I right? Yibbity bibbity. By the time we crested the highest hill in the park, he was positively despondent. Meanwhile, Clara started asking if we could go head back. I told her we were at the halfway point, and she was thoroughly unimpressed with that response. All the while, Anthony trudged on ahead. At the bottom of the hill, Clara needed to stop. Anthony came back to us, and Ray went to the nearest tree to peer into the dark that had settled around us. I wanted to keep going. There was a prickling feeling against my skin, and I felt very uncomfortable where we were. The trees were thick enough to block out the rest of the world, and it was legitimately dark out, but I kept my mouth shut. We only had a little further to go. I don't remember what scared everyone. Forgive me, but it was a decade ago, and I have a blank spot in my memory here. I remember that we stopped, and we were all nervous. The next memory I have is of Clara saying that she felt sick and either crying or about to. Ray was slowly creeping his way into the trees, away from the path. Most of all, I remember Anthony's panicked eyes and a look that just screamed, "What do I do?" Anthony has been the leader since before we could walk. He talks a big game and he makes the rules. He has always been the boss, and he looked at me for help. Something in me clicked as soon as I saw that look in his eyes. Immediately, I told him, "Get Clara out of here. I'll get Ray." For once, Anthony didn't argue. Usually any bossy tone from me earned a quip or a fight, but he didn't even say anything back to me. He went straight to Clara and walked her back down the path. All the while, he kept a protective arm around her shoulders. They left, and I was stuck with Ray. For a second, I didn't know what to do. Ray was stronger than me, so I couldn't pull him out. He wouldn't look at me, and he kept muttering something about his grandpa and going somewhere. He kept trying to walk into the trees, and I begged him not to go. I responded by wrapping my arms around his skinny sapling. Oops, not his skinny sapling. Sorry, that sounded weird. Wait, why are they in panic mode right now? Like she forgets, but they're just in panic mode? This is weird. It's just so weird. Oh, your bird is snuggled up listening to stories with you. That's cute. He responded by wrapping his arms around his skinny... Oh, okay. Sorry. He responded by wrapping his arms around a skinny sapling and staring off into the dark. I tried to pull him away, but he wouldn't budge. His muscles tensed and his brow furrowed when I touched him. In that moment, I was scared he would hit me, so I let him... Shit, sorry. I think I get to a point where if I've been reading for too long, I start to die. Okay. Here we fucking go. In that moment, I was scared he would hit me, so I let him go. I pressed close to the nearest tree and tried to think of how I could convince him. Dude, I keep cracking my... God damn it. Sorry. It's my voice telling me I'm tired of reading this story. I pressed close to the nearest tree and tried to think of how I could convince him to leave. I guess I thought that whatever spirit he was connected with I can't help it. I can't help it. Fuck, dude. Like every time I get to a point, my voice cracks. I need the butter. I need the butter. I need the butter to gargle. Alright, he responded by wrapping his arms around his skinny... What the fuck am I... Okay, he was scared. He would hit... I was scared. I guess what I thought... Alright, here we go. I guess I thought that whatever spirit he was connected with or wanted to connect with was what was keeping him there. I reasoned that the only way I was going to get him to come along was if I opened myself up spiritually and tried to take some pressure off of him. If that meant getting some attention from whatever was there or pushing it away, I wasn't sure. I just felt that I had to try. I mentally envisioned letting all my guards down. For a second, I felt all right. I was annoyed with Ray and I wanted to leave, but I was okay. I thought about grabbing him again, but didn't get a chance when I felt like all the air in my lungs whooshed out of my body. The world was suddenly a blur, and I felt myself being pulled through the trees by a force I couldn't see. I remember everything was heavily laden with snow. Every branch I passed was on the verge of snapping from the weight, and the ground ahead of me didn't have a single track or footprint. I couldn't stop, and I couldn't breathe. Finally, I was halted at the bottom of a tree. Above me, a dark shadow stared down. It looked like the outline of a very large, rotund monkey with a lion mane. It screamed out this grotesque, pig-like squealing laugh at me. I knew it was laughing at me, and that scared me all the more. I was on the verge of tears, and I felt myself rocket back to my body like a slingshot. I heaved in air, and my eyes stung with tears. My body shook all over, and that laugh just would not stop replaying in my head. Ray didn't even look at me as I struggled to regain my senses. We had to leave. We were not safe, and Ray wouldn't move. I looked back up the hill and saw the outline of a tall man next to something short. I couldn't figure out what the short thing was and decided it was a bench. I glanced at Ray and asked, "Do you see that?" He didn't even look. When I returned my gaze to the hill, I couldn't find the man again. Fed up, I grabbed Ray's sleeve and hauled him the best that I could onto the path. I just kept saying, "We have to go. We have to leave. Anthony and Clara already left." The more I talked to him and pulled, the more Ray tried to pull away. He was still talking about his grandpa. He wouldn't go with me until I yelled at him, "That thing is obviously not your grandpa. We're going." Slowly, he followed. I refused to go up that hill, so we finished the rest of the walking path. I helped Ray along until he started acting like himself again. The further we got, the more jovial he became. It was a little disturbing, and I was still shaken up by what I experienced. I have had out-of-body experiences before, but nothing as awful as that. By the time we reached the nearest gazebo, Ray was talkative and laughing. I wasn't listening. I just wanted out. I felt a lot better when Anthony met us at the playground. Clara wasn't with him. He was worried about us and said he couldn't leave us alone out there. Anthony took us to Clara. She was in the I don't know why, even though this is an intense story, for some reason there's something about it that just sounds so excessively dramatized, and then we missed an entire aspect of her memory. Yet this guy's having some sort of psychotic breakdown while she gets pulled out of her body. This feels like Harry Potter. Harry Potter. Yeah, Ray is a douchebag. This guy deserves to get eaten by his grandpa or whoever, whatever it is. She was in the stairwell of the nearest apartment building, the one Ray lived in. Anthony knew the code because he and Ray were best friends. Clara had thrown up quite a bit. She wanted to go back to the apartment, and she didn't want to go in those woods ever again. She was really shaken up, and I was worried about her because she actually vomited. We walked back, and the boys were in high spirits. We were not. Clara and I told my aunt what happened in private, and she didn't seem surprised. She said that Anthony and Ray had been carving. Fuck, dude. She said that Anthony and Ray had been carving pentagrams into the gazebo out there, and she suspected that they were trying to summon something. She told them multiple times that they shouldn't do that, but they weren't the type to listen. Later, Anthony admitted that he took us out there because he wanted to test Clara. He wanted to know if she really was sensitive. He didn't seem to regret it in the slightest. He also let me know that there isn't a bench at the crest of the hill we were at when I told him what happened to me and Ray. I think all of our true colors shone that day, and I still get chills when I think about what I saw. I'll just stop at that part. I think of all... Jesus Christ. I don't know why. This story is like exhausting my brain for some reason. Like, that's doesn't make any sense to me. Does it make sense to you guys? Like... I think all of our true colors shone that day, and I still get chills when I think about what I saw. I'm confused. Like, it was like all this build up. It was all this build up. Like, I'm a psychic, I'm a witch, or whatever, I don't know. And then, like, and so is my cousin, and we're gonna go see my cousin, and then I get to the woods, and the cousin sees something creepy, and then she just blacked out, and then all of a sudden, like, the guy, I kind of wish that blackout didn't happen, because it just, like, threw off the whole chi of the story. Like, I'm not even sure why this story upset me. Maybe the spirit of Ray's grandpa ghost has possessed me, and now I'm a mean old man. It is also after midnight. Yeah, did they see a lion monkey? Ray is also a witch. What the hell? What's going on, man? This shit. I don't know why. There's also a weird thing about people who consider themselves, like, sensitives to stuff. They always come off, like, really, really pretentious, as if, though, like, you should know all this stuff already, or, like, they try to explain it almost in a tone that's, like, as mildly condescending. And that wasn't excessively condescending, but it's just always the vibe I get with people, like, I'm a sensitive, and, you know, I'm kind of a ghostbuster myself. My mother shared this story with me. Her and her friend, who shall remain nameless, were traveling after work from Great Falls, Montana for a camping trip at Holland Lake. The sky was darkened more than usual with impending storm clouds. Along the way, they had found themselves inadvertently sandwiched in a 3-semi convoy heading down the highway doing 55. As my mom and her friend passed Lincoln, Montana, a heavy downpour began, severely limiting their already limited field of vision. It was at this point that my mom and her friend were surprised when the passenger window completely dropped, in such a way that they were lucky the window didn't break. My mom and her friend looked at the now completely open window. There, they saw a figure that was hovering next to their open window, moving 55 miles per hour along with the vehicle. None of the semis seemed to react to this. My mom described the figure, of which she could only see the head and shoulders, as a man wearing a World War-era gas mask. They immediately pulled over at a bar in Clearwater Junction, where they received a free shot each, the bartender commenting that they both looked like they just saw a ghost. Fast forward to 1987. My mom comes across the just-released Communion by... what? Whitley Strieber? At all levels except physical, I am a wolf. It's like my favorite. It's like one of my favorite things. Fast forward to 1987. My mom comes across the just-released Communion by Whitley Strieber and immediately freaks out. She shows the picture to her friend. The first thing her friend did was scream, and they yell at my mother to never, ever bring the incident up again. Communion by Whitley Strieber? What the fuck? Is that a song? Is that like a song or something? Like, what are they talking about? What's a book? A true story. Okay, communion. Let's read it. I'm going to read what it's about. Where's the nearest gas station? Oh, it's about aliens. Valo Torres with the 2 says, would you ever do call-ins with scary stories? That sounds cool. We could, I could do it on, like, Discord. And it could be in, like, it would motivate people to call, join the Discord. And then I would have it where, like, it automatically mutes you when you come into the Discord, but then I could unmute you as need be. Oh yeah, it doesn't look like we're gonna get the pants off tonight, guys. Not gonna hit 1,000 people. But thank you, Valo, for the 2. It just depends. I know people like to hear, me read the stories and stuff, but I wouldn't mind, like, having people call in and tell their experiences. Pants off. Fuck it, pants off. Communion, A True Story, is a book by American ufologist and horror author Whitley Strieber that was first published in February 1987. The book is based on the experiences of Whitley Strieber, whose experiences lost time and terrifying flashbacks, which hypnosis under... That's it. What is that? Bad grammar in a Wikipedia article? The book is based on the experiences of Whitley Strieber, who experiences... who maybe I'm just a bad reader. Who experiences lost time and terrifying flashbacks, which hypnosis undertaken by Bud Hopkins later links to an alleged encounter with aliens. The book was later made into a film directed by Felipe Morad, starring Christopher Walken as Strieber and Lindsay Krause as his wife, Anne. A 2008 trade paperback edition presents a new preface by the author. Strieber compares the familiar being he sees, whom he describes as female, to the Sumerian goddess Ishtar. Ishtar. Interesting. It's freaky. Freaky deaky Dutch. Dude, you know what's really freaking weird? Can I talk about something really weird? One second, I'll let my cat in real quick. Come on in. Stinky kitty. Stinky kitty. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. This is going to be really, really strange. And I'm not going to talk about it for very long, but just like a really, really quick thing. But so yesterday we were in Discord and we were talking about, the WikiLeaks emails that were of Hillary Clinton's and of John Podesta, her like campaign manager or whatever. And I was going through them, and I never actually like went through them before. And one of the most interesting things that I've read in them, at least in the short period of time that I spent looking at them, was there was emails where they talk about how they're going to disclose to the public 0-point energy. And all this like weird space shit. There's all these like emails about space and about these beings. They talk about like these beings that like, it's so strange. Like you should look it up. You should honestly go to the WikiLeaks and read some of them, because they talk about like these beings that will be upset if violence breaks out because of like the revealing of either this energy or various other things related to having peace in space. And it's really freaking strange, man. And then also talking about like, the whole like eventual disclosure process to the public Like, it's freaking weird. This is like Hillary Clinton's campaign manager to, like, I forget exactly who they were too, if they were like someone in the UN or something like that. I don't know. It was really freaking strange. But also, kind of made me curious what 0-point energy is. 0-point energy. In a quantum field theory, the vacuum state is the quantum state with the lowest possible energy. It contains no physical particles and is the energy of the ground state. This is also called the 0-point energy, the energy of a system at a temperature of 0. That makes no sense. I think I vaguely remember 0-point energy, like almost becoming like, it's like you have infinite energy coming from external from your external from your dimension or something like that. Do an episode on just reading the weirdest of the emails. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff out there, like, but it's weird. They always talk about, like, they're upset that the emails were leaked or whatever, and that's what we're focusing on a lot of the times politically. But it's like, you ever look at what's in the emails? They're freaking strange, man. Valo Taurus with the 2 bucks. So, do you believe all politicians are reptilian aliens? Hey, I don't think so. I mean, I don't even know, obviously, like, reptilian aliens, like, do they exist? Possibly. I mean, anything, like I said, like, there's so much strange phenomena in this existence that, like, I wouldn't be surprised, you know what I mean? But are the politicians reptilians? I don't think so, but could I possibly see in the sort of hierarchical position of power a much further developed species of extraterrestrials and or extra dimensional creatures having a large influence over the world powers and that kind of thing? I think I totally could see that happening, where, the direction of the earth potentially is controlled by either malevolent beings or beneficent. Is beneficent? But benevolent? Malevolent? Benevolent? I don't know. Good versus evil type aliens. Or who knows if they're aliens, they might be extraterrestrial. Obviously, this is all sci-fi shit, but I could totally... you met a lot of people who you met a lot of people who I think are aliens. Maybe not aliens literally, but... Oh, I don't get it. Or just the way they think, maybe, or something. Area 51 raid made by government. Area 51 raid made by government? I was happy that we at least got to get that one kid who did the... what the hell was his name? Because I met him at VidCon. Area 51 kid running... I forget his name. You guys might remember him, but the kid who got popular from running behind the reporter doing the Naruto run or whatever. Yeah, I met him at VidCon when I went there, because he was doing Elixir is his name, yeah. And it was funny meeting him because I know he followed along with, like, Ice Poseidon. That's why I initially recognized him, because he was kind of like one of the Ice Poseidon leeches that follow them and stream snipe all the time or whatever. So it's funny to see him actually go to the Area 51 thing. But I guess I don't know how close that is to California or Southern California. Do I have any paranormal experiences? Not really. Just like sleep paralysis stuff, but no visualizations or audible stuff. Anunnaki can shapeshift. Yeah, all this stuff about aliens. It's like, then there's also a possibility that maybe there's not. Maybe there's literally not. Maybe like the old quote. Pale. Do you ever? I'm gonna read something to you. I think this will be actually interesting. From Carl Sagan. It's a pretty good. Hopefully it's not too long. Yeah, it's not too long. Alright, so he says, maybe I can do it in his voice. Look again at that dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, Every human being who ever was lived out their lives. The aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there on a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. The earth is a very small stage in a vast cosmic arena. Think of the rivers of blood spilled by all those generals and emperors so that, in glory and triumph, they could become the momentary masters of a fraction of a dot. Think of the endless cruelties visited by the inhabitants of one corner of this pixel and the scarcely distinguishable inhabitants of some other corner. How frequent their misunderstandings, how eager they are to kill one another, how fervent their hatreds. Our posturings, our imagined self-importance, the delusion that we have some privileged position in the universe are challenged by this point of pale light. Our planet is a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark. In our obscurity, in all this vastness, there is no hint that help will come from somewhere else to save us from ourselves. Earth is the only world known so far to harbor life. There is nowhere else, at least in the near future, to which our species could migrate. Visit, yes. Settle, not yet. Like it or not, for the moment, the earth is where we make our stand. It has been said that astronomy is a humbling and character-building experience. There is perhaps no better demonstration of the folly of human conceits than this distant image of our tiny world. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another and to preserve and cherish the pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known. So I just love that. I just love that, man. It's so true, and especially when he talks about like the rivers of blood that are spilled by generals and emperors simply to rule over for a minute period of time a fraction of a dot. You know, it's so insane to me, the level of crazy that we've developed as humans. Strange. All right, we got 2 more stories. Looks like we're going to cap out here around 900 folks. Fork-Eye Warrior, thanks. It's good to know. I'm blue, da-ba-dee-da-ba-die, da-ba-dee-da-ba-die. Alright, this one's called A Dream. A Dream. What kind of acid he was on when he wrote a blue... Well, that's the thing. He may have done hallucinogenics. I don't think he did, but, I mean, he simply just had, like he said, he just simply... The most humbling experience he was on was the fact that he studied astronomy, you know, and looked to the stars as a realization of how incredibly small he is, and his ability to think allowed him to ponder all of the individuals that have existed and will ever exist here on this small pale blue dot we have called home, called Earth, and realize just how futile some of our differences truly are. It's so strange. It's so strange to think about nations rising and falling and destroying one another, and it's crazy. This happened when I turned 16. I never believed in ghosts or dreams that can show a glimpse of the future and so on. When it happened to me, however, I remember dreaming about a girl with dark purple girl. I'm kind of like apprehensive to read this one because it's already kind of like a big mishmash of words. When it happened to me, however, I remember dreaming about a girl with dark purple girl, and that was... I mean, I'm already kind of burnt out from these stories anyways. It's alright, we'll bang it out. Fuck it, you guys like hearing my voice, so I don't care. Just makes the video longer. When it happened to me, however, I remember dreaming about a girl with dark purple hair, and that I was in what seemed to be at my local music community building, which I would attend every Thursday. I remember the dream really clearly. I could feel the door handle as I went to open and close doors. I could feel the breeze, but the only thing that I couldn't hear was her voice. I could see her face as clear as daylight, but I couldn't hear whatsoever. One thing that I could recall is how I would just teleport place to place. I remember smiling at her and hanging around until I woke up to my alarm waking me up for school. Fast forward 2 or 3 or 4 fucking weeks. Sorry, alright, 1 second. Fast forward 3 or 4 weeks, I went to my music community service as I always go on a Thursday. I was with my... Dude, I don't know why... My music community service? Oh, is it community service? Or the community building? I can't... Fast forward 3 or 4 weeks, I went to my music community building as I always go on Thursday. I was with my 2 friends of mine whose names were Kindlin. What the fuck kind of name is Kindlin? Jesus. Kindlin. Sorry. I was like, alright, now I'll get on a roll. And then the guy's name was Kindlin. I was with my 2 friends of mine whose name was Kindy for... Oh, God. I was with my 2 friends of mine, Kindlin and my friend Nev. A bit of background in the group would be that me and Kindy have really dirty minds and would always make dirty jokes while Nev was more of the innocent one. On our way, we would make jokes, and after that I'd tell them how I had a dream about meeting a girl with purple hair. And of course, Kindy always had high hopes of me saying something along the lines of, "Oh, maybe you'll find your soulmate, Tez. Dreams like that must mean something." While Nev just replies back saying, "Well, let's hope, because he says he is heartless, which we all know he isn't." Dude, I don't know if this... I actually can't read this story. This is like, what is this saying? Meanwhile, Nev just replies back saying, "Let's hope, because he says he is heartless, which we all know he isn't, as he makes fake coughing noise." Why? I'm sorry. I'm being very rude about this story. I guess it's been a little bit longer than normal. All I want is just a nice, smooth reading experience for my people. Here on this pale blue dot. Kindle Ejol. This is just a group of e-boys having a good old e-time. I'm gonna read the ending. I just want to even know if it's any... It's about dreams. You know what? Let me just record. Don't read this one. Okay. That'll tell me to not read it. Whenever I go to edit, I'll just skip over it. I mean, dream stories are good. They're definitely not as good as like actually seeing something, because sometimes they can be even more surreal. But all I want when a story gets submitted is just read it over. Like, write it and read it over, or have your friend read it over. Like, send it to someone, or just read it over yourself and see if it makes literally any grammatical sense, and flows decently, has mild grammar. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. It's my only peeve. My dad always worked away fitting floors. What? My dad always worked away fitting. Oh, okay. I get it. My dad always worked away fitting floors. One day he got offered a pretty big job in Malta, a remote small island near Italy. The pay was great, so we told him to go for it, but didn't expect him to be working away for so long. Weeks had gone by and my dad hadn't finished yet, so my mom suggested me and my sister catch a flight for the weekend to go and see him. I was really excited too, having a relaxing weekend away to see my dad. Only that's not how it ended. When we got there, we were staying in a small apartment house with 3 floors. However, the top floor was run down and abandoned. The apartment was quite large and had 3 rooms. My mom stayed with my dad, and I chose the room before my sister's, so she went to look at her room. She came out in shock and fear, and I said, "What's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost." I joked. "I want to sleep with you. There's a weird baby's cot in my room." I said okay and didn't think anything of it. Later that evening, we went for some food and drinks. We got back and were quite tired and jet-lagged, so we headed to sleep. As me and my sister were trying to sleep, we heard noises coming from the room above us and the sound of footsteps and furniture being moved around. This was weird too, because the room was above. What? I just want to point out, we went from that story to this entire story. They haven't placed a period once in the entire paragraph yet. And it makes it hard. It just makes it hard, that's all. I'm bitching about nothing, really, but... Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. This was weird, too, because the room above was abandoned. This was weird, too, because the room above was abandoned. Do you hear that? My sister said. I was thinking it was my imagination, but when my sister said that, I began to panic a bit. I was thinking it was my imagination, but when my sister said that, I began to panic a bit. Probably the wind or something. Let's go to sleep. I said, to brush it off to the side. I got up and closed the door, but heading off to Oh my god. Well, how's everyone else's day? We should just talk about our days. Let's just skip this. Let's skip all the rest of these stories. Is everybody having a good... I mean, I'm normally not a grammar Nazi about stuff, but the issue is that it just kills the workflow. I feel like it kills the immersion in the story too, because I'm I don't even know what this person is trying to write or say or anything, and I'm going with the subreddit's most upvoted stories of the thing or whatever, but then I'm just is it just arbitrarily upvoted just because it exists, or does anyone actually read these? But I guess maybe when you're reading it in your head, you don't really consider the grammatical stuff, and it's more just the content or whatever, so it doesn't even matter. Do I like iced coffee? I actually don't. I mean, I can drink it, but forever I was drinking just hot black coffee. But once you have some sort of mocha doka bullshit from Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts, you're just I can't even go back to you can go back to black coffee because it's a no calorie, or at least super low calorie drink that gets you jonesing. But once I had I go to Dunkin' Donuts, kind of addicted to going there every day, and get their large hot macchiato with almond milk, and then I get the pumpkin spice flavor bullshit in it as well. And it's really good, man. It's really, really good. Jen Child with the 5 says, Joel, take a nap. No, you're absolutely right. I think I'm just gonna dude, I don't even honestly I wanna like go on I wanna find a video on YouTube about like just Twitch streamers who have just been on for like too long. Not that we're on Twitch, but just like streamers who just need to take a nap. Because I'm getting crizzity cranky for no reason. Literally no reason. Just grammar. Grammar's triggering me. I'm getting triggered. Mama, I'm getting triggered. Yeah, almond milk tastes so freaking good. Yeah, Joel is a basic biatch. Yeah, I should have just taken some Adderall. That's what I should have did. Snorted it right up my butt. Karen, what's up? Welcome, welcome. Drink soy, fart boy. What if I drank soy and immediately grew the biggest pair of boobies you've ever seen? Would you be jealous? Or would you feel bad? Bye, Jen. Have a good night. Be an accessory to my grumpiness. I'm sorry. I'm not okay. I'm gonna finish the story. Not a single grump is gonna come out of me. Okay, we're gonna do this. This was weird too because the room was abandoned. Did you hear that? My sister said. I was thinking it was my imagination, but when my sister said that, I began to panic a bit. It's probably just the wind or something. Let's just go back to sleep, I said, and brushed it off to the side. I got up and closed the door. Before heading off to sleep. Around 4 a.m., I woke up to a cold breeze, and I opened my eyes to see the door wide open. I looked back at my sister and said, "Did you open that?" She moaned no and rolled over. I rolled my eyes and turned back to the door, and my eyes took a shock as I saw an old lady standing in the doorway with long black hair, an old sleeping gown that they would wear in Victorian times. I couldn't think, so I rolled over and closed my eyes, praying it was my imagination. The next day was our last night there, and we went for food and explored the island. When we got home, we watched a few films and went to sleep. I had no problem sleeping that night, however, I still heard the footsteps in the room above. The next day, we were heading home to the airport at about 3 a.m. When we got to the airport, my sister stopped me, and what she said next sent shivers down my spine, and every hair stood up on my body. I didn't want to tell you this until we had left, but last night when you were asleep, I woke up and saw a child watching you sleep. A little boy around the age of us using the what the fuck? A little boy around the age of using the cot in the other a little boy around the age a little boy around the age of one that would use the cot in the other room. I closed my eyes straight away and hoped it wasn't real. My mouth just fell open. So I'm not going crazy then, I said to her. She shook her head in fear. Well, at least it's over. I just feel sorry for poor Dad. He seemed to find it fine over there. I was getting ready to board the plane and wanted a book to read, so I headed to a shop to look for one. I was looking for about 5 minutes and then turned around and saw one side of the bookstore covered in books called The Ghosts of Malta. I was intrigued. Shit. I was intrigued and decided to look at one. I got seated on the plane and then opened the book and felt a tear of fear run down my face when reading this. I was staying in a little town called Valencia, and I saw the town's name pop up on the book, and this made me drop all belief I was being crazy and I knew what happened back there wasn't normal. It read, Valencia is a well-known town in Malta for the haunting of an old lady and her son watching people at night. I couldn't believe what I was reading, and decided to bin it as soon as I got home. I don't know what happened when I was in Malta, but I knew I would never be returning. You just wanted to clap them cheeks. Come on, man. Come on. Shit. Cheeks and bobbies. My almond milk breasts. I'm old. I'm an old man. I need my sleep. I need some young child to watch me while I sleep. It's the only way I fall asleep. That's why I'm moving to Malta. Oh, shite. Well, I guess that wasn't anticlimactic. We got it done. We did it. We did the deed. We done did it. You guys kick butt. Thanks for tolerating my poop head. Should I say anything funny or just do it normal? Do it live. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r/Let's Read Official, and give and receive feedback from the community, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And join my Discord to interact with me and other listeners directly. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations for just $1 a month on Patreon, and maybe even pick up some Let's Read merch on Spreadshirt. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all these stories in long compilation form and save huge on data, located on both Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Links in the bio. Thanks so much, friends, and I'll see you again soon. Aaron, yeah, we already did that one. Don't forget to clap those almond bobbies. That's actually pretty good. Thanks so much, friends. And don't forget to clap them almond bobbies. Well, guys, this was a pretty cool night. We got over 900 folks in the building tonight. If you guys want to keep partying with each other here, thank you, Spooky, for being here. Appreciate it. Thanks for everyone being here and helping out. Yeah, join the Discord. That's linked down below. I'm sure one of the mods will link it here as well. But Discord's fun. You get to post memes. You get to chat with people if you feel like it. You get to lurk and just read all the stupid shit that I say. So it's fun. But yeah, this video will be out. Hopefully first the audio will come out on Patreon. And then it'll be out tomorrow. Definitely by 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So keep an eye out for that. Yeah. Yeah, and follow me on Instagram and Twitter if you haven't already. And keep updated when I'm going to be going live, when the videos will come out, what the thumbnail looks like, if that's important to anybody, but build some hype, all that good stuff. But yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm going to go to bed and I'm going to dream about grammar. And like a cold sweat. There's not a single fucking period here. How am I supposed to read this? My subscribers, they're going to leave me. Oh, fuck. You guys are great. I love it. Goodbye.